Hello everyone, welcome to the Octane Online Racing, not the Sprint Series, but the GT4 Series that we're holding for 4 rounds, starting off round 1 here at Laguna Seca. I'm Garen Fizzleplate. I'll be joined tonight by Aidan Squires. We've got the lovely Ben Hignett on the cams as well. Just getting things all sorted out when we get confirmation on tonight's schedule, but got a good turnout of about 30 plus cars. How are you, Aidan?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, Cam. Looking forward to tonight's race. As you said, we've got quite a few cars getting ready to stack up the grid. This is a nice, tight little twisted track for these GT4s, and we'll see how the racing is.
So indeed. The sort of twisty nature of Laguna Seca, a lot of mid-speed corners, a few slow speeds as well. Obviously the world famous corkscrew. And even though it is the WeatherTech Laguna Seca track, I always like to remember the Mazda sponsorship that this track had for many years. I'm sure those of us with Forza and Gran Turismo on the previously before sim racing probably remember it the same as well. But we run by as Steven Ty gets a bit of a tank slapper out of turn 3. Head up to turn 4. So a lot of drivers, obviously, everyone's I think driven GT4s at some point, but never really raced them in anger like we have with our normal sprint series. So it'll be interesting to see how people adapt.
Yeah, interesting choice by Stevie Ty here, driving the Maserati. I believe it has no ABS and quite a decent chunk of power to go along with it. So it's going to be more difficult to drive than your standard GT4, which obviously offers you both TC and ABS. So we'll see how he does and if there's any lockups that we can see on this lap.
Yeah, Maserati. It is lacking the ABS, I believe, or it was the TC. I can't remember. It was one of the ones, but every other car pretty much has both TC and ABS. Same like GT3 cars as well. For those who are not familiar with GT4s, it is obviously a lower, slower spec class under GT3 by quite a bit as well. I have to say though, in the wet, like these things could actually keep up. Well, not relatively keep up, but they're not that far off the GT3s. But they are lacking the downforce and the power, and are generally a lot closer to their road bearing counterparts as well. You see now the Ginetta G55 GT4, well-known small sports car brand from the UK. And a few other cars, you can see the Cayman and the Camaro as well up ahead. So we've got a few manufacturers here that aren't represented in the GT3 class. So it's nice to see the Camaros, and I think a few others that leave my mind. Obviously, like the aforementioned Maserati. Is any GT4
as well.
stand part? Yep, the Alpines as well.
Yeah, I was seeing the first times come in. I think Ben just switched it, but it was a 29, I believe, a 29 for the top time. We're expecting, I should think, some 28s in this lobby, especially from drivers like Lucas Keys. So the time should keep coming down with only 3 minutes left in quali. Not much time left, maybe about 2 laps left in it for those in the ideal spots. But yeah, we should see the times come down. The track is fairly hot right now. But they will keep increasing their speed as more rubber gets laid down on the track. They can obviously use that extra grip to go even faster, so we'll see what times they can put in towards the end of the session.
Absolutely. BMW M4 GT4 as well here, the older gen one, and not the one that's currently out there racing in real life. So this DLC is a few years old as well. You have to bear in mind. And while I think GT4 is not unpopular, but it's not as obviously popular as the main GT3 class, the BOP is not really up to the scratch. I think there have been some BOP adjustments that we have used for tonight that are available. But obviously not like as regularly updated and as rigorous as the GT3 LFM BOP that we kind of used to. You see the Aston Martin GT4 as well as the Mercedes and the lone Audi up ahead. I have to say there are a few. There's quite a varied selection of GT4s that you can choose, and there are definitely some weaker ones and stronger ones. And yeah, there's a reason why there's only one Audi out there.
Yeah, unfortunately for Saxon Hayes, he'll be hunting you down after that one for the Audi slander. But yeah, I mean, the main cars you'll probably see in this series are the Ginettas. They'll do well on these more tighter, twisted tracks. Obviously, the Aston Martins, the Porsche, and the Mercedes as well are all pretty strong cars in the GT4 class.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, well, yeah. I remember the Audi. The Audi is kind of not great. There's a few cars like I think the McLaren might be the same, where they have a basically kind of a fixed brake bias. So, and it's meant to automatically adjust under braking, and it leads to a very weird feeling, I have to say. But the Genettas, I will say, is one to really watch. It's kind of people kind of underestimate how good that car is, and it's very nimble, very light, and very strong through the corners. And there's a lot to be said about that car, even though it unfortunately does, I think, tops out at 240 kilometers an hour due to an old homologated gearbox, which has long been replaced in the real life versions.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully on this track it shouldn't affect them too much. The main straight, I guess, if you call it a straight, is hardly a straight. I believe quite a few of the GT3s don't even get into their top gear going down it. They
Yeah.
stay in the second highest gear, so the straight line speed shouldn't matter too much for these Ginetta guys. So I think that's why we're seeing quite a few of them in the top 10. Not seeing any McLarens currently, which is the fastest car on the straight here and suffers from braking. So that might be a sign that maybe the maneuverability of the car does matter a lot more at a track like this.
Yeah, the McLaren is a pretty rapid car in their class. It's got quite powerful turbos, and even the BMW here as well is turbocharged, and it is actually quite a straight line monster. But that's me recalling from about 4 years ago, so things may be different now. But it is definitely stronger on the straights and not so good around the corners.
Yeah, as they finish off their laps here, coming out of the final corner, Lucas Marshall is 2/10 or but he's lost that drive on the exit, so he's not going to improve this lap. So right now it's looking like Lucas Keys to Patrick Johnson to Marshall, unless Keys or one of the other people can improve. Keys just lost a little bit of time here, coming through the midfield part of the track.
Yeah, and one thing that will probably catch a few people out, so those who are unfamiliar, that GT4s actually don't have the tyre warmers that we do in GT3, so they definitely start from very much the coldest. There's no heating at all, and hopefully Lucas Keys isn't held up too much by this Porsche up
He's
ahead.
just
But
bailed up. He's
yeah,
just
I think
bailed out of the lap, unfortunately.
that Porsche was still on a valid lap, so he's not entitled to get out of the way. So we'll say hello to the race control bot. Good to know that's working, and then I believe we'll be having a bit of a change of plan. From what I understand, 2 20-minute races as opposed to 45 minutes. So probably with another qualifying session. The Alpines are also another one to watch. Can't say that I've had too much success when I did drive them, but they were kind of a bit of a meme car, and then they got kind of buffed to a point where they were kind of one of the strongest GT4s, has to be said. Jaden Rodinelli across the line there. Not sure if he really ended up improving there, but ends up P13. Quite a few Caymans. It's a pretty solid car in this class.
Yeah. I mean, I might have a shout for a reverse grid for the second race potentially, to spice things up a bit if we're doing two races. But as we look at the grid here, we've got the Aston Martin of Lucas Keys on the right, the AMG of Patrick Johnson on the left, and I think Steve Misson in the
Marshall.
BMW and Marshall in the Ginetta. And then behind that is Callum Gibbons on the right in the Aston. I didn't quite catch who the purple car is, if you got that, Cam.
I'm not too sure, but I did see it. There was three genetics. There we go. Thank you very much to Is it Graham Hill, as it seems, and then Stephen Ty in the Maserati, followed by Tim Gubb in the following Ginetta. Makes four Ginettas in the top four. It is, I have to say, like the few races I did when these came out, the Ginetta was very strong around this circuit in particular, and it looks like that is still the case. So good to see it's still going well. And, Biggie Hugs, I think that's who is that? Zach Jensen? No, that's someone else. I know I can remember the name, but I can't remember the real name.
It is Zach Jensen,
It is
yes.
Zach
Biggie
Jensen,
Hugs
yeah.
is Zach
For some
Jensen.
reason, his name has come through as whether he's changed it in the OOR, who knows. Not our normal running wireless server, I believe. So yeah, hopefully things can go to but a good turnout for this G4 series, and it does appear that we are using the short. And there's a McLaren, so we do have one,
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
did
down
see
the
a
back.
couple of KTM's as well.
Yeah, the
KTM,
Expo's a funny looking car, isn't it?
yeah, definitely one of the smallest engines. I think it's either that or the Alpine, definitely the smallest engine in this whole game. But they can be pretty potent as KTM's, but they're not exactly easy. You're not working with a lot of power, as you can imagine. Got the short formation laps, so those lack of tyre warmers are going to be even more apparent. So, got to be doing everything you can to get them warmed up. Generally, you
See,
don't have a lot of TC settings, so you run pretty much next to nothing TC. So, well, to be fair, that's no different to the GT3s as well in ACC these days.
yeah, you can see some cars particularly just jerking that steering wheel left and right, particularly Patrick Johnson on the front row of the grid. So I guess we'll see if he has any advantage in the first few corners over Lucas Keys as we go up to the run, the starting line. If you want to take us away, Cameron.
Yep, we're on through as it'll take Patrick Johnson a fairly solid launch, a very good launch to displace Lucas Keys as the inside line. It's very hard to lose the position as they go green flag right now, and it is going to be Lucas Keys in the green Aston Martin. And Patrick Johnson has to watch out for Lucas Marshall in the white Ginette as they come into turn 1, turn 2. It is a fair old long apex corner. Everyone's been very good so far, though. No contacts at all from what I've seen. And may have cursed things, but a very clean turn 1, which is normally not the case here at Laguna Seca. Stephen Tyder and the Maserati gets all out sideways, battling with the purple Ginetta, I believe, of Graham Hill. Gallon Gibbons in the other green Aston Martin on the back of Sam Missant in the BMW as he looks at Lucas Marshall's Ginetta. And he's going to meet Lucas Keys, followed by Patrick Johnson, but Patrick goes wide there, but I don't think the Ginetta's going to have enough grunt to pull alongside up into turn 6, and then it'll be the Rahal straight up into it's early braking there for the Ginetta as he gets a stronger run, but he's not really on the back of Patrick Johnson. So it is a line formation so far, but the grid has been remarkably clean, and I'd love to see it as well. Great driving from everyone so far in this split as they come through the famous corkscrew, up and undulating over, a little bit wide there from, I believe, Rondinello in the Cayman, but gets through unscathed. There's a few 2x2s and 1x1s. There's a little touch there between the Maserati and the McLaren, but so far so good. The Camaro Genera as well. Everyone's getting through nice and safely.
Yeah, that's a good starting lap to the race. As we see, Lucas Keys has just absolutely shot off the blocks. He's 1.7 seconds ahead of Patrick already after the first lap. There is a slow car just after the corkscrew, number 27. But apart from that, I think that first lap was very good.
Yeah, very, very good, especially at turn, what is technically turn 2, this corner as we're coming up this almost 2 corners in one. Can be very feisty, but I think everyone knows with this sort of mini series, I think we all kind of want to take it somewhat seriously, but not as crazy or kind of serious as our sprint series with championships on the line. Obviously, we'll be doing a mini championship for this round, but it's all a bit of fun here. As Dylan McDowd tries to get a good run on Rondinella, but dips 2 wheels in the sand, and that's going to peter out for the Cayman driver. As we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 Caymans in a row, connect 4 Cayman, and they're all going pretty strong right now. And it's great to see everyone getting through. We did see a few more yellows. I think that was 29 at the turn 2. Not too sure who came undone, but it looks like they got going again.
Yeah, we've got our own little Porsche Cup battle here as Dylan McDowell tries to have a look into the corkscrew. Very difficult place to overtake. Oh, as Cayman goes wide, cutting track, I think that's Jaden Rondinella, number 22. He's rejoined nice and safe, so well done to him. As we look at a replay, oh, is the McLaren hitting? Oh my gosh, that is some ACC suspension stuff right there if I've ever seen it. I think there was 4 wheels off the ground there. So, yeah, obviously the McLaren not too happy with track here. As we go back on board with Dylan McDowell, he's now leapfrogged Jaden Rondinella and possibly the car in front. Or I think he was behind. Oh no, he was behind the other car in front of him. But he's now got in front and he'll work his way up as we go on board with Graham Hill. This purple Ginetta. There is limited liveries for this race, I believe, as a result of some of the server issues, but the purple does definitely stand out as he's trying to chase down Callum Gibbons in front of him. He might have a little bit of trouble getting by the Aston, particularly on the straights. The Aston is no slouch going down the straights, but he'll have to try and make something work in the more twistier parts of the circuits. As we've mentioned, the Ginetta is quite strong in those parts, so yeah.
Yeah, the Ginetta is not going to be. It's definitely one of the more underpowered cars. You see Sean Muller there goes up the inside of a fellow McLaren. Is Jay Foster, but goes wide and dips 2 rails in the sand and very much loses that position. So unfortunate for him, but great to see him back racing as well, as he looks to size one up again on the back of the other McLaren. But it's great coming into the oh, it gets a little bit deep and a little bit screwed, a bit too close for comfort, and it gets a little bit unsettled, loses a bit of time, but I'm sure he'll make up things as he got to keep on his wits as the Ginetta behind him. As, Lucas Keys is very much in tune, setting more faster slaps out there. He's well, he hasn't actually beaten the official real-life GT4 lap record, which was a 28.845. So he's got to find 20 milliseconds, and I'm sure he will eventually. It is fairly warm out there, but it was a real-life record by the GT4 Mercedes by Daniel Morad in the last year's Pilot Sport Challenge by Michelin.
Steve Misson really sniffing the back of this Ginetta as they sweep through turns 5, I think, or turns 4. That BMW, as mentioned, it isn't the best on the straights as far as I know, but it's certainly better than the Ginetta.
It's one of the best. I have to say, it's the inline 6 really kind of feeds into the grunt.
Yeah, we'll see if we can get a run going up the hill here. The back of that Ginetta, you might be able to try to send something into the corkscrew as he gets right up. He's pulling out, maybe having a look as he opts to just go for the safe option and tuck in behind. Just obviously being patient, waiting for your opportunity. You don't rush overtakes. Obviously that can lead to some unfortunate circumstances. So Misson just taking his time here, just sizing Graham Hill up. Obviously maybe checking for weak points in the lap or places that he can snag an opportunity. Yeah, we'll have to watch and see if we can get past.
Yeah, very much like when we race GT3s here, even cars with straight line advantages struggle to kind of get a move done here because the straights they're on the shorter side, and by the time the kind of straight line advantage starts to kick in for some of the other cars, let's get a replay here. Did see 95 was yellowed, and I dare say that might be that car in particular. I think that is Zach Jensen and the Ginetta, unfortunately getting kind of tapped by the yellow Cayman, and a few more cars go for a little bit of an expedition as well. It's not the greatest, and I'm not too sure what really happened there, frankly, but we'll move on. Unfortunate there for Mr. Zach Jensen. Patrick Johnson still holding off and not letting Lucas get away too much. He's still within a sliding distance at about 3 seconds.
Yeah, we might see a similar situation to before where the Ginetta is going to struggle to get past this AMG. The AMG, as far as I know, is fairly good on the straights as well. As we jump back to Graham Hill in this kind of 3-way battle, I guess, for 4th, with Callum Gibbons leading the group up the front in that British Racing Green Aston Martin, looking very nice. As Graham Hill clobbers that sausage curb, I probably would not recommend eating any curbs in these cars, to be honest. Maybe the Camaro, but I would probably stay off them, judging by the size of these ones. As he drives straight over that other one, maybe he's found something out and he can take them. But I
that
personally
one on
wouldn't
the
take
last
that
corner,
risk.
you can take that one pretty safely. The kind of front wheel lifts up a little bit, so you're not really suffering too much from the bounce. I've seen a few cars yellowed out there. It's car 21. It's Jay Miller, according to the timesheet. Yeah, so up to you there before, but the GT4s are generally better. Patrick Johnson is a bit wide, and it's going to give the Ginetta Lucas Marshall a run alongside, but he's going to be on the outside line, but he's going to try and break deep, and he does a very good job and gets the move done already into the onto the racing line. So that's a great job by Lucas Marshall there, taking advantage of the slight, going wide from there from Patrick Johnson. It's going to replay here the payment. I'm not too sure which one this is. Kind of the generic liveries up and behind the Century Motorsport. Ginetta unfortunately kind of goes for a move and makes a very dog's meal out of that one, and unfortunately goes and sets up for a spin. Thankfully, the Ginetta kind of was a little bit unscathed in that one for the most part.
Yeah, as we look back on board with the fight for second, the Ginetta obviously has very good brakes, so I think Lucas Marshall was just able to hit that brake pedal a few meters later than what Patrick was, be able to just slot in front of him before the turn-in point. But either way, it was a very good move. Good setup, nice and clean. That's what we love to see.
Yeah, the engine it's a very good car, and its only real weakness is being kind of underpowered. It's a very well balanced, very light car. As Graham Hill looking all over the back of Mr. Gibbo. Oh, he goes for a bit of a late send, and he actually gets Gibbo very easily up to the apex, and there's going to be P4 there for Mr. Graham Hill, and kind of displaced Mr. in the BMW. That thing does like to oversteer, and I have to say a lot of people are going to be maybe lacking setups as Lucas Marshall now under the defense there from Patrick Johnson into the same corner. He made that move 1 lap ago, but holds the inside line and should be well and truly safe. Yeah, I'm going to say there's while these are, everyone's like kind of getting used to the cars, they don't really have the, the most optimum setups like we have for the GT3. They don't have the all the time and man hours that they've put into them, unlike the GT3s.
Yeah, I mean, both these drivers just ringing the necks of the cars. We're just over halfway through the race now, but as you can see, dropping through the corkscrew, getting a nice slide on, and Patrick was running that exit into the corkscrew basically every available centimetre. He was pushing that car as hard as he could to get as good as drive as he could onto the straight, and we'll see if he can close up this gap in the slipstream of the Ginetta now. But that Ginetta, just as we've mentioned, just really good drive out of the corners and very maneuverable. It's very hard to get around. So yeah, Patrick Johnson will have to pull something out of the bag here to get past.
Yeah, singing his praises, and at times I did drive in a few leagues with GT4s. Like, it's not uncommon to actually see Ginetta only like kind of league races treating it as a cup. See replay of 64 in the Maserati. Mercedes and he's got to find that inside curb. Yep, there again, and then gonna go into the gravel. I apologize there, as I am starting to catch a little bit of the flu as things cool down here in the winter. Looks like we've got a blue flag Alpine just getting out of the way, and hopefully they've cleared the apex while these guys come through. You really don't want to slow the car here, and yeah, they do a good job. Thank you very much. It's good etiquette. Patrick Johnson not letting Lucas Marshall off the hook here, but they both are letting Lucas Keys build his lead ever further. Yeah, or maybe Lucas might drive something other than an Aston, but I thought wrong.
Yeah. Something that I've also noticed is the temperature is still increasing. So I believe at the start, the track temperature was 33, and it's climbing up to 35 now. So if the drivers didn't do their it's just dropped down to 35 now that I've just said that, but if the drivers didn't do their tyre pressures completely correct, even over 20 minutes, if you've overpressured or overheated your tyres, that will start to have an effect, and you'll definitely notice a lack of grip, which is very important on a track like this where there's really no runoff or room for error. As soon as you go in that sand, you're going to be in some trouble, as Patrick Johnson just clobbers that exit curb from turn 2 as they head into this infield section here under the Cooper Tyres barrier. As we're starting to see Johnson just slightly falling off the back of the Ginetta. So we switch to Missing, who's kind of got a healthy gap between him and the car behind, as the Maserati does a huge drift. I'm guessing he's running minimal TC, I dare say 0 after seeing that, and his qualifying performance. So clearly not worried about the rears degrading over this race, as we've only got 7 minutes left. So because it's a fairly short race, the drivers shouldn't be too worried about tyre wear.
Yeah, there won't be too much to worry about, but it is a fairly warm day as well here in the California sunshine, and obviously it makes sense for where we are geographically, but pretty good. And you're right there about the pressures. If they're not in the right window, it's going to be even more apparent with these GT4s, because you don't really have the aero that you really don't have. To say
no, there's minimal aero, really.
Very little aero, so you are pretty much relying on even more so on the mechanical grip of the tire. So it is more essential. I have to say, it is fun to race these cars. Like, as much as I do love the GT3s with all their kind of aerodynamics and the almost much more power than these cars have. I think they kind of range from like 300 to 400 range, whereas the GT3s kind of generally touch the 600 horsepower range, maybe a few down to about 550, but still it's enough that it makes quite a difference when they zoom past you in the multi-class series. But let's see Tim Gubb here in the Jeanette on the back of Dylan McDowd. And yeah, the Maserati, despite the lack of one of its assists with the ABS, it's definitely not to be sniffled at as well. It's a little bit like the Jeanette. It's it's actually quite well balanced and got some decent power as well. It's a very good through like kind of a good balanced platform through the corners. Obviously, you just have to make use for the older car. I think it is one of the oldest cars in the game. But it's nice that we have the option of it. You see him missing there actually on the back of Gibbons. Look like he's struggling with his tyres a little bit. That BMW is quite an understeer fest, and it's quite hard to peter out. There's P2 and 3 still battling away at it.
Yeah, we got to a few little battles going on around, so clearly there's still some action going on as we watch the battle, as we get a replay here between never mind. As we get the double camera now, as we can see, missing right on the back of Gibbons, and the battle for P2 as well between Marshall and Patrick Johnson. So yeah, obviously the drivers still having a bit of fun out there, nice and close to each other, hopefully keeping it nice and clean as Lucas Marshall drops a wheel onto the sand. That allows the Merc to get alongside on the outside. This is a pretty tricky corner, as we saw before, though, to actually overtake someone. Because Johnson gets a really good exit as they come into the before the Rahal straight. Johnson's down the inside, and that's a fairly easy move as long as he can keep it on the track. He should have some speed up the hill, but the Gianettas obviously just got an excellent run through that corner as they go side by side into the corkscrew. Very difficult place to give the other car room, this, but they've navigated it very safely there. No contact. Very well done by both the two drivers. Patrick Johnson's now back into second place in this race. I mean, Lucas Keys is well and truly gone. He's in the next postcode. He's driving across to New York at this point. So, yeah, I don't think they'll catch him. But as we go back to looking at Callum Gibbons in this battle for P5 between him and Steve Nissen and Steve Ty, just kind of driving into the background a shot now. As we see them go down the main straight. We'll see what the straight line is like on that BMW, as you said before, Cameron. It seems pretty good. So the clock is ticking. They only have probably 3 or 4 laps left now to get whatever moves they have done. As Nissen just closes up onto the back of that Aston Martin. Can't really find a way past for now.
Yeah, it's just going to hang on for 3 minutes left, which will probably equate to where, looking at where Lucas is right now, probably at least another 3 laps. Sorry, 2 laps, I should probably say. But this is going to be a lot for Nissen to try and get done. Looked like he was kind of falling off a little bit, but now things have kind of come back to him as Gibbons looks to be the one struggling a little bit. But as much as I, kind of bigged up the BMW. Oh, that's very wide from Patrick Johnson. He's going to be very slow on the exit. And there we go. Lucas Marshall already going up the inside and pretty much clear. I'm going to have the apex into turn 9. And I'm going to be well ahead by turn 10. It's guessing Patrick Johnson going a little bit too deep into the corkscrew and getting turned for the corner, but had no momentum and no drive through the rest. But it looks like he's going to try and really come back at Mr. Lucas Marshall. But it's been great driving from these two. Very clean, very fair. And obviously, yeah, as you allude to, letting Lucas Keys get away with things a little bit, but he's been pretty commanding this whole race.
Yeah, obviously Patrick just had a little bit of oversteer on the exit or drove it in a bit too hard. I did notice he cut the apex of that corner quite a lot, so maybe he's got a few warnings. He needs to slow down to make sure he doesn't get a track limits penalty, because obviously you don't want one of those here, especially on a short track like this. That will absolutely kill your race. Yeah,
absolutely. I think corkscrew is kind of a bit forgiving. You can get away with cutting it a fair bit because that's kind of just the line, but unfortunately it kind of means that you just have a very, very poor exit. Let's see, Gibbons and Graham Hill going along. So it'll be this lap and one more. So I'm pretty sure Lucas will get to the line in the next 60 seconds as he's going through turn 9 right now. Gotta hang on there for Gibbo. And the BMW is right there. The BMW is not great on the brakes, but you can see he's really on the bumper. And it's so easy to miss your braking zone and just pile drive into the car ahead here at the corkscrew. Is the one thing that makes me very nervous, especially as you come over the crest. The front goes light, and you can see the ploughing on the steer of the BMW. Is unfortunately kind of it is horrible through that corner. Like so, any understeery car is awful through the rainy curve. It's a very unforgiving corner, and maybe not got the setup he would like in the BMW, but he's going to have one more lap to get it done.
Yeah, as we head through turn 1 into turn 2, which is the long left-hander, double apex corner, a lot of different ways you can take it, as you've probably seen already. Mason just tries to get on the back. I think his best opportunity will be to the corkscrew, as there is a yellow flag up ahead. Car number 26 looks to be spun, so hopefully both these cars can notice that car that is off the track and get around cleanly, as that's a backwards KTM, it looks like. Hopefully that doesn't get in the way of anyone's final lap. That would be a little bit frustrating. But I think Misson's best chance, yeah, can't park there. I think Misson's best chance will be up into this corkscrew, as we've seen. He's going to get right on the back of this Aston Martin. I think he just has to try look for something, put the nose somewhere, do something just to try put that Aston off. But the Aston's just holding that middle of the road line. You can't really work with anything when the car in front does that. It's obviously a very good defensive move, but into a tight corner like the corkscrew, there's not much you can do. As we see a KTM right on the apex, hits the curb. Oof, lucky he didn't get a massive bounce. That's just unfortunately timed green flag. As we see Lucas Keys and P2 as well, and 3 crossing the line. I believe the Ginetta finished in front. Yes, that's Lucas Marshall. And the 111 car finishing ahead of Patrick Johnson. As we see, Callum Gibbons is able to hold on against Misson, and Steve Ty, who is behind him. Graham Hill also coming across the line in that purple Ginetta. As we see Dylan McDowell in that black and red Porsche, and Timmy Goab and Beachbold as well coming over the line. There's still a few cars close together in the back. There's that lone Audi crossing the line now. I believe that is a Lewis and Jaden Rondinella, followed by McLaughlin and Tanner. Oh, Tanner seems to have gotten in front of McLaughlin there right at the end. So yeah, well done to everyone in that first race. Fairly limited accidents there. A few little slip-ups, but I mean, that's pretty good for a track this tight and twisty. So well played to everyone for finishing the race fairly cleanly.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, there's the rest kind of closing, and I think it's a lot of people kind of maybe still kind of getting used to the cars. Yeah, there was a few yellows, but I think it was many people just kind of not used to the machinery, and as well as also Laguna Seca is kind of unforgiving with some of the curves around here when you lose it. So it was pretty good, but good battling us all the way around. So I believe we're gonna basically hit repeat on what we've done, and we'll run again. I imagine we're not too sure what we doing another qualifying. Do you have any knowledge on that one? Because I'm drawing a blank.
No, I think it's a little bit of a surprise gift for us. I think we'll just get what we get and we don't get upset. So I think we'll just have to wait and see what format this second race is. I would love a reverse grid because I love chaos, but I'm not sure if that's going to happen. A reverse grid around here would be pretty chaotic, though, I would dare say.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's something that can be organised. Hopefully, if it was, it would have to be a planned event. And I think, given the few last-minute changes, we'll have to, bid adieu. But we shall wait. We shall see what we get. But yeah, shout out to everyone as well in chat. Appreciate everyone you being here. Kind of as Australia goes into the winter season, and wishing well to our good friend, the founder of Octane as well, Neil Alexander, or Mullock. as I believe we're sending. Well, we're not sending, but Glenn Germain is on his way down to, I believe, to Launceston to see him and see him well. You wish him well, and if you get a chance as well, either tag Bullock just anywhere, say hi, send him a message as well. If his DMs are open, and I'll really appreciate that because it really enjoys all the love that's been sent up. And obviously we had the Bathurst 12 hour where we managed to raise a bit of money to help with things as well. And that stuff really keeps him going. So send him like a message, wish him well, and obviously hope he recovers and we're getting back to his day-to-day thing.
Yeah, we just see a sneaky Porsche doing some donuts in the pit lane. I think that's worth of a few penalty points there. I'm not sure if that is allowed. I think that's the Maserati of Steve Ty joining in too. This is a fairly unconventional method of tyre warming. I don't think I've seen this one before. I'm not sure if it's particularly optimal.
Yeah, I think it's Mr. Dylan McDowd, and unsurprisingly in a Porsche as well. Not to be surprised that Steer and Ty. Yeah, I don't want to think about what kind of trouble you get in a real life series doing donuts in a pit lane. You would be asked to leave and never come back.
I don't think you would keep your occupation as a racing driver for much longer. As we see, they are now on the grid. I'm not sure what order they are in. It looks to be... Yeah, I'm not
So
sure. We'll have to get a different camera angle to see. Okay, so there's a Porsche on the front row in front of Lucas, and there's Patrick
I
Johnson.
think it's random, but unfortunately Lucas has somehow managed to get himself to the front, even though it's random.
Yeah, I think we should make it a rule that he has to go to the back. But as we run through the grid, I think that's Steve Ty and Callum Gibbons on this row in front of us. Number 9 Porsche as well. I'm not sure who that is, but that's definitely the Graham Hill purple Ginetta on the right. Oh, sorry, on the left.
Yeah, I think this is we're just going to the next race in whatever order that the game sorts them out on. It's no real kind of order, but we're just gonna fire away and send it.
Yeah, it's kind of a free-for-all. As we see, Lucas Marshall right down the back in P22, so he's going to have a fun race coming back through the grid. Um, he's got a lot of positions to make up, but I do think he will be able to get fairly far off the grid. Someone of his driving skill, as they drive away to follow the short start formation.
Must have been powered by Fruit Bowl, this server, because it's totally random, but Jaden Rodinez has somehow ended up on pole.
Yeah.
Again.
Oh well, hopefully his Fruit Bowl. I suspect he's been doing some practice here, probably on Fruit Bowl like he always does. So hopefully his sessions on Fruit Bowl can come in handy.
That grid is pretty shocking, guys. Guys, come on, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, maybe the start formation might be a bit bugged after the random lineup, because as we can see,
that's one way to catch up.
Driving off the track. So yeah, there might be some server issues going on with people being told to be in certain positions or whatever. That's
I think that was Josh McLaughlin just catching up because he fell behind. He was meant to be P2, so understandably was having to scramble to catch up, but that's a bit more like things. We'll hold on board and go on board with Patrick Johnson at the green flag at the start, and it's oh no,
we're all slowly.
Yeah, we're all pulling off. Maybe we're not actually doing it. We're not really like, well, it's green flag and everyone goes into the files into the pit lane. This would get you a penalty in our sprint series because you're not meant to cross that line.
No,
but
I think the race director has given them some instructions here. The whole grid is now yellow flagged. Very interestingly, reverse grid question mark. I mean, maybe I'm always down for a reverse grid, as I've said. But they might be filing back out as we see Lucas Keys jumping in front. I don't know if that's under direction of the race director. There are some cars moving in the
They're
background too.
sorting the grid order according to Diaballs in chat.
Yeah, so are they?
Whether
I'm
that's the
assuming.
last race grid order, we'll need some more information. But seeing Patrick Johnson and Lucas Marshall showing up, I get the feeling it might be the result from the last race.
Yeah, it does look like the previous race formation um, is being put in now. So I think we see, yeah, so we see Keys, followed by the Ginetta, then the Merc, then the other Ginetta, then the Aston of Callum Gibbons. Yeah, so obviously we're going back. I wonder if we must be doing a rolling start then again. I wonder how many laps of formation we'll need to sort this out, how much time that's going to take, but I do not have the answer to that, so I guess we'll have to just watch and see.
Yeah, I think we'll be trying to get a go this lap, but I think we just try to keep things rolling so we don't lose too much time because the game timer is ticking down. As I said, we didn't plan to have two 20-minute races, unfortunately, due to an error. We were meant to have a 45-minute race, so yeah, things are, oh dear, as I just saw Sam Missing get rear-ended by the black car behind him. Can't remember who that is. I think it's Stephen Ty. So
Yeah, it is Stephen in the Maserati. Obviously, it is a kind of quasi safety car situation here where everyone's going very slowly and they're trying to sort the order out, which can sometimes make for some collisions when someone slows down in front of you or speeds up and you're not expecting it. So hopefully they don't accrue too much damage on this formation lap.
yeah, and I think what Annie alludes to in chat, yeah, I think this is a bit of an emergency. I think this yeah, we had to use a the race practice server, so we didn't have our race server sorted out, or it had an issue on the race server, so we kind of had to. We didn't have things in place, which unfortunately happens, but it is what it is. We'll go along. We should have at least 15 minutes of racing, I imagine. We'll probably get going over the line with 16 minutes, and we can still get a lot done in 16 minutes, I imagine.
Yeah, as we see the last grid members filtering through onto the back of the formation. Yeah, so we'll see the Camaro come through here now. There's still a few cars going down that main straight. I think they've sorted out the order mostly now. But the one thing about this is that their tyres won't have warmed up at all because they've been stationary and they've been going very slowly. So their tyres might actually be getting colder if they're not doing any tyre warming sort of maneuvers like what Patrick Johnson is doing. So we'll see if that has a effect on the start because all of their tyres will effectively be stone cold.
Yeah, and I think if anything, maybe the hotter track temp might help mitigate things. But as soon as they start rolling, they'll get some temperature in them, but really not much. But considering they're starting from zero with zero tire warmers, it's you haven't got much tire temp to lose, I suppose. But yeah, not going to be ideal. But I imagine we'll have probably maybe a bit more of a single line start, or whether it will be a double formation. We shall see. But it looks like we are going to get going. And yeah, here we go. Everyone stays tuned, and we'll have our normal split reds after this as well for the Sprint Series, Simrigs Sprint Series. Thank you to Simrigs for helping keeping things running here. Thank you everyone to all our Patreons as well. Help keep our servers up and running. But it is going to be Lucas Keys followed by Lucas Marshall, and then Patrick Johnson for the top three, and then Graham Hill, Gibbons, Missing, Ty, McDowell, Gubb, and Bechtold for top 10. Interesting, I think that is, I want to say Sean Bechtold, but haven't seen him around for a while, so it's nice to see him racing again. But as the fastest lap of 4 minutes 27, suddenly beaten by everyone else. But funny enough, that one won't be too representative, as the bot's going to be pinging off that one for a while. But we will go racing, and it's going to be a bit more of a safety car kind of formation start. Isn't it? Looking, everyone's going to be going pretty cleanly. I'd be surprised if everyone somehow manages to crashes on a single line formation start. But you're going to be under the way, and Patrick Johnson, I dare say, we're going to see these two battle out very much again. They both go in the sand, and you can kind of get away with going in the sand a little bit if you really carry the speed, but it's going to be little ebbs and flows, I'm sure. But interesting to see how these two can recreate their battles from race one, and maybe try and put the pressure on Mr. Lucas Keys.
Yeah. Hopefully they can give him some resistance, as opposed to last race. We see them fill in through the giant sausage curve onto the Rahal straight. Looks to be all nice and clean for now as they head into the corkscrew for the first time in the second race. Quite close to each other, some of the cars, but keeping a nice clean run on this first lap. Well done by all the drivers, keeping up those good driving standards. Looking for any yellow or white dots. We do see one car gone wide and slow in the background.
And Stephen Ty.
Yeah, that might be the Maserati of Stephen Ty. Just slid off the track or something. It's very easy to dip a wheel in the sand here and go wide. So, but apart from that, very clean opening lap to see. Kind of to be expected with the safety car start restart. But still, well done to all the drivers for not causing any incidents.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll put on some good racing for us. This is going to be a bit of a shorter second race.
Yeah, I mean, this is a real sprint race, isn't it? This is
Absolutely.
about the length of a sprint series qualifying, this one. So, see if they can get nice and close together as we get an awesome shot of the camera getting run over by some of the cars on the exit of, I believe that's turn 4. As we go on board with Dylan McDowell being chased down by the Janetta of Timmy Goab, who's right behind. I dare say the Janetta might struggle getting close in this sector of track, but might be able to close up through the Eleanor technical parts.
Yeah, definitely not a car that most of us are all kind of used to is these ones, and I'm sure we'll learn each round. And over the next, I believe, over the next 3 weeks, we'll be having 3 more rounds of GT4s. So it'll be Zolder next week, followed by Ulm Park and Zandvoort. So the kind of smaller, tighter, twistier tracks, which are definitely a bit more to the tune of these smaller, more lighter, more not necessarily nimble, I would say, but definitely a little bit more packed racing. 195 looks like they've come a cropper in the exit turn 10. Dare say it won't be the only one so far. I think everyone probably getting their tyres somewhat up to speed by now. You might see the same kind of gaps start to creep out as well. And Cam Gibbers, we can try and make up for race 1 and kind of get past Graham Hill and kind of show a bit more kind of speed and consistency.
As you go on board with a replay, this is Steve Ty.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, just caught that exit and bang into the tyre wall. I mean, when you're running low TC, it's very different. Once you have a moment like that, it is the car basically just gets away from you. So yeah, I guess that is part of the risk of running low traction control and also having a car with no ABS on top of that. So yeah, I mean, we're kind of just seeing a replay of the first race. This car number 58 is yellow flagged and stationary. Hopefully he can get going by the time the rest of the cars is going now. But yeah, we're kind of having a replay of this first race with the BMW on the back of it. This is a Maserati going through the final corners. Oh, yep, hitting the curb and going all 4 wheels off the ground. Oh, Dylan McDowell just finds a way past. Oh, no, maybe that's not McDowell, but one of the black and red Porsches found the way past and just managed to squeeze himself through and not collect the spinning car. Let's go back on board with Lucas Marshall holding that second place. You see Lucas Keys just start to lengthen his gap. I would guess that that gap is probably going to extend quite a bit more over the length of this rest of the 9 minutes. As we go back on board with Tim Goab chasing down this Porsche in front of him. Back told, I believe that is. As we got a kind of group of, I think that's about 6 cars, all fairly close together. There might be a battle between them coming up, as we see that Merc is definitely seeming to gain on Tim Goeb through this sector.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what Lucas Marshall can do, because I think he had the kind of pace to go with Lucas, or be kind of close to Lucas, but kind of got lost time fighting Johnston last race. And, Tim needs to use a little bit more of the apex of the second part of the corkscrew, because he's leaving a lot of time there. It's a few little kind of techniques around this circuit. It's very technical, and there's a lot of time to be found here. It's not somewhere that we've been to recently. I believe as I want to say season 15. It's the last time I recall we raced here.
I think we were here for sprints in, I think, 17 or 18. It was one of my first seasons here, but yeah, it's been a little bit of time since we've been.
Yeah, and I don't have any. I quite enjoy this circuit, but I will say I find it kind of difficult. I don't think it's the best track for racing, I want to say. Some people may disagree with me, but it does. I think if you kind of don't make mistakes and you kind of just hold the line, it can be very difficult for someone
as we say that.
That's a lot of curb from Tim Goeb. So as they make errors like that, it's not going to be very hard for someone to get a pass done on you. But, yeah, actually manages to not lose too much time or positions.
As we see side by side into the corkscrew here between a McLaren and a Ginetta. Is there going to be any contact or just a little bump on the apex? They keep going. Oh, and there's a little just tap on the exit which fires the Ginetta off the track. Is that Zach Jensen again? I think he's going to hate the corkscrew after this, after tonight. He's been fired off a few times there, I think. So this track is probably going to go on his list of not too fond of. So unlucky for Zach there. Just, I think that's Zach with that green blue sort of Ginetta livery.
Yeah, the number 95 if I recall from race 1, but I think it was a bit of a racing incident for the first contact, but Sean Muller here, I believe, in the yellow McLaren, and fortunately trying to make a move on the Ginetta, and does overshoot the corkscrew a little bit, and then we see there, Jack Jensen getting kind of fired off into the barrier. A little bit unfortunate. The McLaren is also not the easiest car to get stopped in the braking, if I recall.
No, I was just going to mention I was here in the McLaren in another series the other week, and getting it stopped into the corkscrew was definitely a challenge, especially when you're behind someone. It's very easy to miss the braking point, and once you miss it in a car like the McLaren, it's very, very difficult to get it stopped. So Sean Muller just taking the cut there, as we saw the Porsche just have a bit of a slide on the exit. Tim Goeb as we go on board with Adam Lewis and the Pidgey Racing team. Mercedes through the corkscrew, nice line taken through there. Bring it out back wide, trail the brake through this difficult sort of left-hander. Get it back over to the left for the second last corner. Fly it in, get nice and next to that curb, but don't hit it. And brake just on the 2 marker for the final corner. He's going to keep it nice and tidy, just trying to get onto the back of Tim Goeb here. Scobby is kind of ebbing and flowing. I think we're seeing he's speeding up and then slowing down in some bits. So yeah, he's catching and dropping off the back of Bagtoad. So we'll see if he can run some nice consistent laps here. Drive into the back of that Porsche in front of him.
Yeah, and everyone making the odd mistake from everyone here and there as well means it's kind of as I said, ebbing and flowing. And when you're having people being on the attacking side and then suddenly you're having to defend, as everyone's, as I said, a little bit unfamiliar with this machinery. But I'm sure they'll kind of get in tuned over the next few weeks as they race them across 4 different tracks. Josh McLaughlin here in the Maserati.
You see that team name?
Yeah, no TC, no ABS.
So clearly he's living his life in the danger zone here, driving a pretty powerful car with no TC or ABS. So,
yeah, pretty. If I remember from when I drove his car as well, it had a very slow gearbox as well. It was, I think this car kind of came from the early days of the SMMG kind of gearboxes, the early sort of paddle shifts. So they were not exactly the kind of single clutch, not automatics, but you know, kind of paddle shift gearboxes. So they're not the crazy double clutch ones that we have today, where they're kind of almost seamless. But yeah, it's 'cause I think to be honest, this car kind of borrows its engine and gearbox from the F430 Ferrari, if anyone remembers those now, because apparently they're old now. Because if you never see the lack of the ABS as well, perfectly demonstrated. But it doesn't overshoot the corner too much. And with 3 minutes to go, I don't think you're gonna be worried about flat spots too much.
No, I've just noticed some penalties pop up. Steve Tyre has a 10-second. I don't believe we saw what that was for. Do you remember what that was for, Cam?
I do not recall. All I've seen, I think he had that moment on the first lap, but I don't think it was very much self-inflicted, so it might have been maybe out of grid position, who knows. Saw a few penalties as well on the first lap, but we should, yeah, calling me clueless on that one, but it looks like Lucas Keys has kind of pulled away from these two again, and may or may not. We'll see if these two can have a bit of a battle. As they definitely gapped Mr. Graham Hill. I think it reminds me a little bit of our LMU series, whereas the more unfamiliar people are with the series, the machinery, the kind of the gaps start to form out a little bit, to get things a little bit stretched out. And obviously, you know, we don't have all the setups where we can dial in and optimize things. Even though you shouldn't rely on setups too much, but they do make a difference. Quite, I have to say. Once you start to get comfortable in the car, and especially with these GT4s, to be honest, the GT3 setups, I didn't think much highly of these days. The default setups that come with the game,
Well,
these
no, they're not
GT4
very
ones,
good, are they?
these GT4s are going to be even worse than that.
Yeah, I would say most people here have at least hopefully done a few clicks on the setups of these cars because Kunos definitely dropped the ball in the default setups in this game. Apart from some of the newer
Yeah.
cars,
They used to be very good in the early days, but I think after the updates, they didn't update them proficiently. Like the standard progressive setups in the early days used to actually be quite decent, but now I don't know if it's just setup technology's kind of moved on, or but I feel like as the game went under various updates and iterations, and like cars would, like the Mercedes in 1.9, where they pretty much redid the whole car, like how it drives and how all the physics worked on it. They didn't update the updates, the setups, sort of stuff like that. And when the engine went to 400 hertz with the physics as well, like there's a lot of things where those default setups are now just no good. But that's things either way. The game is pretty much in its end of life status. That's how things are going to be. What's the view in the future? We don't know. We're finding out. Obviously, have a look at AMS2, LMU, a few things here and there. We're not too sure. ACE is obviously, everyone looks at that. Not too sure where that's going right now. It's still very much in development. Doesn't have multiplayer yet, so it's definitely not on the cards for us right now.
Yeah. So we go on to our final lap here. I think Lucas crossed the line with 126 left, so this will probably be the final lap. There's a blue flag ahead, which Patrick Johnson could maybe use as the blue flag goes off the track to let them pass. So he's not going to be in the way. Just a few corners left for these guys, so Patrick is going to have to pull something out here. I dare say he won't get past the Ginetta here, just because, as we've mentioned, that thing's an animal in the tighter, twistier sections. So it looks like Lucas is probably going to retain the win for race number 2. Unfortunately, not as long of a race as we'd hoped, but anyway, there was still some decent racing. It was fairly clean, as we see that number 45 has gone off again as Lucas Keys crosses the line with Lucas Marshall in P2, followed by Patrick Johnson. That's Graham Hill in the purple Ginetta coming out of the final corner, followed by Callum Gibbons and Misson following behind in that blue BMW, followed by Big Told and McDowell, sorry, in the two Porsches behind him. as we see some cars pulling over. I think that's Steve Ty or maybe a lap down. I'm not sure about those last few cars. They kind of seem to be all over the place, but Tim Goab and Jaden Rondinella make up the final two positions of the top 10.
Yeah, and a few cars still crossing the line, but it's great to see. I think we had pretty much every car represented from the GT4 field out there. And you had now the odd Alpines and the KTM's and Maseratis as well. So it's nice to see every car represented out there. So it's a bit of a fun series that we're taking part of, and we'll obviously be here next week, same time, same place for Zolder as well. And we'll also be going to Split Red once we go around. We'll confirm the runs. I imagine we'll have a bit of a break because we've kind of finished a bit on the early side. Normally we finish a bit closer to the start time of Split Red, but that will be going live and we'll be continuing on at 9 o'clock with another set of commentators for everyone to enjoy. It's going to be Lucas Keys. How much we are familiar with that name, but he does the best. He's the quickest out there, and he's going to take the win for both of them. But obviously, Patrick Johnson and Lucas Marshall definitely kind of still there. Maybe a few. If Lucas breaks a leg and doesn't get to practice as much, or he kind of has a few errors here and there, maybe they'll have a chance to take the crown from him. But we shall see.
I think we need success ballast for Lucas.
I think we
I
need
think,
Lucas Ballast.
yeah, Lucas ballast plus 40 wouldn't hurt, I don't think. But yeah, unfortunately, I don't think we get to see the classes because we have not been in the actual race server. So unfortunately, we won't be able to see the class positions, but we can still see the overall. And as Cam said before, we'll be heading over to Split Red, which is Suzuka night race as well, with 2 mandatory stops following on from last night. So I encourage you all to stay around and watch that race too, because it will probably be very interesting. Hopefully more interesting than the 2 stops they did at Monaco. But yeah, Suzuka's an excellent track. I'm sure all of you who have driven it will agree. So it should produce some pretty good racing, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yep, it'll be Split Red. Finishing it off as the GT3 Sprint Series is kind of in its midpoint, getting towards the latter part of the season, if not to the end. So I'm sure the championships are heating up a little bit, but we'll hold off and I'm going to crack this over. But I imagine we'll probably, since we don't have the results, we'll leave it there for the GT4 series. So thank you everyone for watching. We'll probably have I imagine a break and an intermission while and we'll tune back in about 25 minutes. So remember, at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Now, when the qualifying will be starting for Split Red, I imagine we'll leave the stream up and we'll just have it on intermission. But from me, Cameron, and Aiden, it's going to be goodbye from us, and stay tuned for Split Red in about 20 or so minutes.
Goodbye.
Hi guys, Damiano here, and welcome to Octane Online Racing Simrigs Sprint Series Season 21, Round 7 at Suzuka. We have a night race tonight as we watch the cars head out to do their qualifying laps. And welcome to me in the commentating booth is our mate Sam. Good evening, Sam.
Good evening. How are we, Damo?
Pretty good. Watched some of the GT4 race. Glad I was not involved in that. But now I'm really looking forward to some GT3 racing. And that is a beautiful looking Porsche with the Greco Racing on it. Like to see that car go around. Headlights are on. We're at sunset. I think it's 8 p.m. here. So the sun is... Oh, look at that. Beautiful evening. What a night to go racing. And a Ferris wheel to go to boot.
There you go. So we have the famous or infamous Suzuka International Circuit tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We have 23 cars on the grid. It is a 60-minute race with 2 mandatory pit stops for both fuel and tyres. So strategy is going to come into it tonight. Are they going to go long, short, short, or are they going to go short, short, long? We're going to have to wait and see how this one plays out. But I think we're going to be in for a tantalising race. I mean, look, let's be honest. Split Red always turns it on for us, and they do get a bit of an insight into which strategies are going to play out which way, and they get to see the other 3 splits race here. What sort of pole times are we looking at tonight, Damo?
Fine question, that one. I think we're looking at high 58s.
High 58s, that would be absolutely rapid. I think we're going to see our usual suspects on pole. A battle between Mr. Shady Samuel, if he is racing tonight, Breno Ellis, as always, Taufig, maybe able to put it up there, Boscovis, and Maddox. We'll have to see how our pro drivers are going to fare tonight.
Yeah, it should be really interesting. We're going through as we're on board with Maddox, setting up the first flying lap, I believe. I wasn't paying attention. I was listening to your excellent commentator. And also looking at the last race results, actually. So last race, we had Shady Samuel for the win in pros, Scott Rochford Pro-Am, and silver was done by Remez Samuel, and Bruce Miller was leading the AIMS across. We'll see how those guys challenge tonight.
Can you, while we're watching these banker laps play out, Damo, can you give us a bit of an update on where our championship standings are sitting? Obviously, we're getting closer and closer to the pointy end of the season, so I think it's going to be crucial these next 4 races for people to have clean races. Scoring some points is always better than none at all. But mate, run us through those championship standings for all 4 classes.
Absolutely. A driver we actually left off was Stefano Viciuti. He's currently 3rd overall behind Bruno Ellis, who's behind Shady Samuel. The gaps there is 788, 702 and 524 points. So I think the championship is really between Shady Samuel and Bruno Ellis. Shady Samuel car number 5 in the Ford and Bruno Ellis car number 17 in the Audi. Sliding down to silver class, we have Gabriel Slavaggio, sorry for butchering your name there, mate. Car 11 in the McLaren, Tim Gobi in silver in the Aston, and Remez Samuel in the Merc. Their points also pretty close at the top, 363 versus 355, with Remez at 318. Not too far away from Remez is Pete Chalmers leading Pro-Am, car number 78 in the Porsche, Ben Curtis 83 in the Ford, and Scott Rochford also in a Porsche. That championship match was only split by 28 points. 292 for Chalmers, 270 for Ben Curtis, and 265 for Rochford. AM class is a bit more gappy. We have Brad Gosling, who's racing tonight, I saw. Yep, currently P12 as we got some of our first laps coming through. What have we got here? We have a 2 minutes flat. Still some room to go there. Quickly finish off the AM class. Brad Gosling, car 833 BMW, Bruce Miller 62 in the Porsche, and Liam Braid, car number 26 in the Porsche. Their gaps is 119 points, 75 points, and 59 points. As Remez Samuel puts in a fast lap of 2 minutes, 0.1.
There we go. So it's all to play for. And, outside of the pro class, we've got some really tight points gaps there. So the rest of the season is going to be fascinating. Now, as we are watching some footage of Ramez Samuel in the Three Pyramids Racing Mercedes GT3 machine, just coming through what it looks like the S's from, and I did get it right until we swapped cameras there, as Mohin Taufig, the first man into the 59s, with Ramez Samuel 3/10 behind him. This S's section is going to be absolutely crucial tonight. For anyone that's driven here, they understand just how technical this section is. It's a benign looking, sector, but it really punishes overdriving and really rewards people that are patient with their inputs. The fastest way through the S's section, as we see a vehicle off on the right-hand side, the fastest way through the S's section often feels the slowest, but it's just so crucial to keep the traction under all four wheels and to keep the car in balance. As we're sitting on board with Maddox here, he's currently 1.8 seconds up on his fastest lap, according to the ACC drive cheat that I have got with us tonight, and that time of a 2 minute flat and a half for him last time was invalid. Breno Ellis takes it to the top of the timesheet with a 59.5. What can Maddox respond with here as he crosses the line? And not enough was the short answer, as we see Shady, the first man into the eights. He's thrown down the gauntlet, ladies and gentlemen. A 58.85 for Shady, to be then bettered by Johnson by 13 thousandths of a second.
I think these guys are quickly getting their fast lap in and quickly aborting the next lap and readjusting the tyre pressures because of the temperature delta that we've got here. So we've got 21 degrees as Taufig's crossing the line with a time, I called that a bit early, a time of 1:59.4. Certainly more time. I was seeing Taufig in the practice circuit much faster than that, so there's a lot more to come as yet.
Yeah, we'll
what
see.
I was leading to say, sorry. What I was leading to say was these are practically the best conditions you can get in this temperature zone. There's no sun on the track as Ellis has pulled off. Really fine conditions. So I'm expecting some much faster times.
Yeah, look, I think I think it'd be great to see something in the low 58s. As you said, the grip is optimum at the moment. Air and track temp within the perfect window, so we should see some rapid times at the moment as we're watching Ramez again. So currently leading the Silver Charge in 7th position, and half a second up on his previous best. So we'll see as he comes through Spoon, uses a lot of exit there, and we've cut on board to Salvaggio here as he's about to cross the line. Currently 3.5 tenths up on his previous best. And he's on with a 59.89. That's a good lap, and that puts him onto silver pole. We're back with Ramez here. He's come through 130R into Casino, hard on the brakes, tip the carry on the right, use as much as that curb on the left as you dare, and then flat out for the shortest run to the line. Stay on board here. He lost a bit of time somewhere through there, just under 2 tenths up. Look, that's not going to let him touch Salvaggio, but it may gain him a place or two. And now on board with Taufik.
Yep, the second part of that chicane is absolutely key to having a good lap time. Get that a little bit wrong, that's easily 0.3 to 0.5 seconds lost there. It's a very tricky one. Might discuss that one a little bit more once we get into races. Taufik has not gained any time.
And then through turn one with Shady here into the S's section. This is somewhere that the Mustang's going to struggle tonight. It's a big, heavy, cumbersome V8 front engine setup in this vehicle, and you can see the wheel work from Shady. He is having to fight this car to get it to each and every apex here. Hugs that right-hand side well. And let's have a look. Watch the throttle trace very early on power there from Samuel. Managing a little bit of oversteer. As he comes into one of the heaviest braking zones on the track into Degner 1. Cuts that nicely, stays within track limits, in and out of Degner 2. Oh,
he's still as well up.
Delta's well up, managed to keep that into the hairpin. Very tricky corner on this track. There's a lot of time to be lost and or gained into that hairpin there. Nice and early on the throttle. Lost a little bit of time there though, so probably a little bit scrappier than he was hoping. And we have got Johnson ahead of him in the Bentley. Coming into the spoon curve on the anchors, tip the car into the left, use as much track out wide as you can. Hug the left-hand curve and floor it for the run down to 130R. Now, I want to stay on board with Ramez here because I'm really interested to see how much he has to lift to go through 130R. Sorry, I called spoon 130R there before, but we'll just forget about that and move on. That's quite a big lift. Quite a big lift.
So, you know, the chicane, the second part. Here we go. Ooh, another big lift. I'm not sure how quickly he got on there. I was really watching the throttle there. Getting a little bit of time on the exit. And it's definitely going to be a pole lap. Still one more flying lap to go. Getting closer to what you're calling a low 58s there, certainly on board. As the sun has actually gone below horizon, and it'll definitely be start getting more chillier now. As
yeah, track temp.
Pete Johnson.
Sorry, I was going to say track temp has dropped 1 degree here. Crucial bit of information. Talk us through this sector 3 here for Johnson.
Oh, where are we here? Leading into the chicane, you've got to hit the first curve, really attack the curbs. The curbs actually are inbound. A little slide out, that's not going to be worth it. Hopefully not, could potentially be not a good next lap with the performance drop in going through the chicane. So we'll see if the delta goes up by the middle of turn 1, turn 2. So we've got Johnson coming down, left, yep, coast to left, little tap of the brakes, keep it turning in, up a little bit on the time, really got to get power out. Now this part here, as you were saying before, Sam, really got to be very patient, very little brake tapping, not too early on the accelerator, smooth acceleration. I find getting late turn-ins is really helpful. He's dropped a bit of time, his time's now back to zeros, going through Dunlop curve, little left, oh, he's holding the throttle late there, not going full throttle there. Now heading to the Degners, this is the really tricky bit. First Degners a bit of a lift, carried the speed across, that looked good. Second one, a much bigger lift, gone through, found a heap of times through there, got that right, was 0.3 up. Leading up to what I call the sink, because this is where your time just drains away, braking in, at the end of the curb, turning in, a little bit wide, that could be a good line for a good exit. So we're panning out the exit, it's pretty even, haven't lost too much time, and going flat. And now for the infamous spoon, very tricky through here I found. Got to lead into the corner, a bit of coasting, and a downshift mid-corners. What I saw, that early shift down, accelerate, right the curb on the outside, accelerating, going deep, curb is in, dropped 1/10 through there. Now we're coming up to 130R. Let's see if Johnson has a big lift or a little lift on board. Let's see how fast we can go.
So he's going to need to find 2/10 here to pip Shady for pole. He's currently right on the margin. Can he find any time through Casino? He's found bucket loads of time here for Patrick Johnson. And he's lost it all on exit. Oh, it's heartbreak for Johnson as he crosses the line. Fantastic lap, but just not quite enough to knock Shady off the top step. So your top 3 are Shady Samuel, Patrick Johnson, and Sean Pascovis. We jump down to silver. We have Ramez Samuel, familiar name, Salvaggio, and Zach Warren taking out the top 3. For Pro-Am, we have Pete Chalmers in first, Mike Crick in second, and Ben Curtis in third. And unfortunately, our AM class didn't make that top timesheet, but we've got Ben Miller qualifying ahead of Brad Gosling in the 833 BMW machine. So while we're doing the grid walk, I thought this would be a perfect little window for some Suzuka trivia. So this circuit is 5.8 kilometers long with 18 corners, 10 of those to the right and 8 of those to the left. It is the only track on the GT3 and the Formula One calendar with an overpass. So being that figure 8 configuration, obviously the track does go over itself. It was built by Honda in 1962 as a test track, and is obviously has evolved into a fantastic, very technical, demanding track for racing. Now, as we're talking about during the start of that qualifying session, we have got 2 mandatory pit stops tonight for both fuel and tyres. So there's going to be some fantastic strategic flexibility here for the drivers. If you're running in clean air, not being held up by the car in front of you, it's probably going to make sense to go long. If you are deep in traffic, you're stuck behind a car that you've got pace on, that's where a short first stint is probably going to pay you dividends, and you're then going to try and undercut those cars in front. So it's going to be fascinating to watch the strategy calls that the drivers are making on the fly, and see sort of how they're going to play out. The undercut works well here. The overcut works well here. So it's going to be interesting to see, and it's going to be interesting to watch the car's performance through, these quite short stints. You know, who's using heaps of tyres. The S's section is absolute murder on the front tyres, especially that being in, especially for our big heavy front engine machines there. So as they line up on the grid, we have lights on from P2 as he has started his engine, and we're going to get ready to take us away for a formation lap.
And we can quickly see at the lower end of the grid, we have Miller and Gosling, P22, P23. So that championship is red hot on for the M class.
And we've just had a comment in YouTube chat saying one of the commentators needs to turn their mic up. Kamaris, if you can let us know which of the commentators, because we'd love to fix that for you. There's nothing worse than not being able to hear one of our beautiful voices and all the amazing insights that we give you. So yeah, if you can jump in, let us know which commentator is quiet. Go A for Damo or B for Sam, because that way it makes it easy to recognise whose voice is who. And let us know, and we'll adjust those levels for you.
So, sorry to Sam. I think that was from the GT4 race, because I remember seeing that comment earlier as well.
Oh, perfect. I was feeling quite self-conscious there. I was having issues with mic levels during our Coda 12 hours, so hopefully have that fixed. But when I saw that comment, I was like, oh no, it's me. All right.
The last thing we want is one of us to not come through clearly.
100%, mate. 100%. All right, Damo. The question that all of our viewers have been waiting for, mate. Who's going to take it out tonight?
Whoa. I'm going to throw it at Buskovovas.
Buskovas in the McLaren? Good shout.
Buskovas, yeah.
Yeah, good shout. I'm going to go with Breno. Breno has been absolutely red hot in that Porsche, and I think we're going to see the Ford burn up its tyres, whereas the Porsche's going to be a little bit nicer. It's harder on rears than it is on fronts. So through the S's section, we might see that balance out a little bit. Obviously, it's not going to get the fuel economy gains that we're used to seeing out of the Porsche in an endurance race, because we've kind of got 3 qualifying sessions tonight. But that is who my money would be on. I'm going to pin in it. Let's bring it home, Breno.
Yep. I will say for certainty that Porsche's mega under brakes here. Absolutely mega, going into the hairpin and down in the Casio triangle.
Yeah, I think the Porsche's mega on its brakes everywhere, isn't it, Damo?
Oh yeah, but especially here. It's absolutely nuts. It's so enjoyable. Oh, cars are forming up 2 by 2. And I'll leave it for you to be quick-minded and call the start. Let's see how quickly these guys get through and safely through the S's and the sink.
Yeah. Look, turn one's going to be spicy. They'll still be 2 by 2 going through the S's. We're going to be in for a fantastic race start here as the back of the Crocodile makes its way through the Casino Triangle. Everyone's formed up pretty nicely. The drivers will be being reminded that they need to be over their grid boxes. As a reminder, we have Samuel from Johnson, from Boscovas, from Taufig, from Ellis, Raschuti, Samuel, Savaggio, Maddox, and Chalmers to roll out your top 10. We're just waiting on the lights to go green, and we are racing, ladies and gentlemen. Fantastic start from Johnson there. He's managed to get the jump on Shady. Shady's going to have the inside line into turn 1, but that's going to compromise his exit out of turn 2. He's managed to hang Johnson out to dry there and gain that position back on the charge into the S's. The rear of the Crocodile has made it through turn 1 and 2 quite safely. We have all 23 cars on track, and now the chess match begins. Two front-engine cars up at the pointy end. Our two mid-engine cars in Boscovas and Taufig are going to get very, very frustrated behind those heavy machines through these technical high-speed flowy sections. As we come into Degna 1, all cars carrying loads of speed through there, some very great lines. Johnson's not hanging around here though. He is going to hassle the bejeebus out of Shady to try and make up that position, especially on turn 1. As we go through the hairpin, a bit of an oversteer moment for Johnson there, which is going to cost him heading into Spoon as the rest of the field carries through. And look, I'm a commentator, so I'm allowed to jinx it, but we are 3/4 of the way of the lap through the first lap with no yellow flags, Damo.
It has been very well done by everybody, yourself included. Excellent call. Heading down the back straight, going into the 130R, everyone seems to be forming one single line now, and from what I can tell, there's no position changes in the top 10.
No, I think I'm just looking at the rapid fire names I called out. I'm like, they all look like they're in the same spot. As we've got a shot here of the cars running through 130R. It's just an iconic corner.
There's a move. Oh, that was
Rob Brick. No, that was Rob Brickley on Viney or Chalmers. Those liveries are too similar, boys. You've got to sort that out.
Well, Chalmers is P10, so I'm picking that would be Viney though.
Viney, and it looks like Brickley got the move done. What a move on lap 1. So Shady's opened the betting account with a 2:03. So we're going to see those times tumble as we come through. Currently got half a sec.
Yep. So we got an early pit starter with McLeod coming in. He was qualified P17. We'll see how we go.
Nothing lost, nothing gained. So he is obviously going for the very short and then long for his next 2 stints. So that's going to put him in clean air. We'll see if that's going to be a master stroke or a death knock for that car. Let's hope that it's a master stroke. As Stan Boscova's very, very wide. Raschuti sneaks it up the inside. They trade a little bit of paint for their troubles, as Boscovas has now got the Porsche of Breno coming through as well. He's in a bit of trouble there. He's lost a bit of rhythm, and that's Salvaggio now behind him. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, the timing tree is not keeping up with the fantastic racing that we've got here tonight, but brilliant to see some really brave moves in the opening couple of laps of this race, Damo.
Yeah, I saw someone having a little look in the top of Spoon there. Oh, here we go. Oh, no!
Oh!
Maddox, Samuel, and Savaggio, I think, having a little get together. We'll
yeah,
leave that
tragedy.
with the stewards on that one.
Tragedy for Ramez. He qualified so well, too. But, hey, we've got a 60-minute race. We've got a couple of pit stops. There's a lot can happen as we cut to a replay. And this is a great view from the move of Brickley on Chalmers there. And he's all over the back of 2 Porsches here, and he's all over the back of it. Where does he get this position made?
That would be very, very confident through 130R.
And I'm just looking at the timing screens, and I'll cut to ACC Drive. So McLeod has stopped. Viney obviously had quite a big incident because he's back down at the back of the grid now. So he must have lost it there. It was a 2x2 through the S's for these guys. That is very, very brave. Fantastic driving from both drivers here to be able to keep those cars, without tripping over each other. which is very tricky to do here. So that is Charitos in the number 9 BMW, all over the back of Scotty Rochford in the 332 Porsche here. And Charitos has also got Anderson for company in the 98 Porsche machine. So we've got rear engine, front engine, rear engine, front engine in this 4-car train.
It's all over the place, the engines. Where are they going?
Oh, mate, the other thing we're missing is a mid-engine. Otherwise, we'd have all 3 options covered. As it looked like Rochford opened the door a little bit on exit there, but Charitos was not able to capitalise just there. We'll see if he's not going to beat the Porsche under brakes into spoon. But, it's these big, heavy braking zones and these slower corners where I think the front-engine machines are going to need to make their moves, because the technical high-speed stuff, they're just not going to be able to cut the balance with some of the smaller, more nimble vehicles. This
will be interesting. So we got Anderson having a go at Charitos. This will be interesting.
Very interesting. Is he brave enough? He's not. He's decided to back out of it. Will he make a move into the Casino Triangle here, though? He's lost too much time. He's way too far back.
Oh, here comes a replay.
All right, so this will be a replay of the Salvaggio, Ramez, and Maddox incident. So Ramez got a little bit checked up there, and Maddox gave him a little kiss on the bumper. Hard one to call. I'm glad I'm not a steward tonight.
Yep, no, I'll pass that one along. As we have Charitos on Rochford in turn 1, turn 2. Oh, very tight racing there. Can he keep up with him through the S's? This is where the Porsche has some strength, I'd like to believe. We will see as we go through to the exit of Donalcorn. It's coming up to Don. Oh no, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong dot. They're halfway through the S's. We'll see how they get at the exit of Dunlops, is where the leaders have just passed through now.
Yeah, you'd think that the Porsche would have the upper hand on the Beamer through the S's there, but almost impossible to pass through that section. So it can be a frustrating place for some of the more balanced machinery. You're getting held up by a heavier car, but you've got nowhere to go.
There's no room for 2 cars. The other car to let someone else through, it has to be a decision to be let another car through.
Yeah, either that or a big mistake. As a mid-engine driver myself, one of the glories of that setup is you can really sort of choose and dictate where you're going to place the car in a corner, because the car is so light, nimble and balanced. So you're able to hassle these heavier machines and poke a nose and hopefully force a mistake. As we watch Stefano Rasciuti go through 130R there, and he has Breno in the number 17 Porsche in hot pursuit as they come into the Casino Triangle for the run down the pitch straight, and for our 4th time into turn 1.
Oh, and a very fast lap in race trimmer, 158.7 from Patrick Johnson.
I think race trim's a bit of a stretch here.
Oh yeah, it's more than 12 minutes, I can tell you, buddy. Oh, maybe not. It could be pitting next lap, right? We've already had 4 or 5 cars already pit, so we'll see.
It's just quality trim plus a couple extra litres of fuel. With these stint timers we've got. So, as a bit of an update, we have had McLeod, Ramez Samuel, and Pete Viney through the pits so far. So they have completed 1 of their 2 mandatory stops tonight. The rest of the field still punching on. Brad Gosling is ahead of Brad Miller for the AM class. Lead there. Chalmers is fending off the ever-present Mike Crick for Pro-Am, and Salvaggio is running in a bit of clean air in the silver class battle, but he's got Maddox 3/10 behind him, and Maddox is a very keen driver. He's not backwards and coming forwards, and look, if there's a move to be made, Maddox will sniff it out.
Unless you drive a Mercedes. Oops. Oh, the contact earlier, I just had to call you.
Ah, Roger.
I'm sorry Sam, sorry Rob. Yes, where have we got here? So, Maddox is the last of the pros that haven't pitted at the moment. Mike Crick's having an okay race. He does some things every now and again. Yeah, it looks like he's doing something here. Yeah, I'm trying to do a reverse commentating thing on him.
You got to be meaner. You've got to be way meaner if you want to do the
way
reverse
meaner?
commentators. Oh yeah,
meaner.
you have to rag Cricky out. You have to say he's having the worst race of his career.
Did you see how
Yeah.
wide he went through at 130R there? It's like, I don't even think he's trying. And like, it's a Nissan, and he's in a Japanese car, a Japanese circuit. It should be a given that it's like, it should be first by now. I don't know why he's so slow for. And top 10, like, what's all that about? Should be much higher up.
There you go. We'll see if the reverse commentator curse has worked there. He's managing to fend off Zach Warren, who is a higher class driver here, exceptionally well. No doubt the exit acceleration of the GDR looking after him beautifully here. And as I said, I can almost guarantee that Zach Warren, look at him. He is getting so frustrated, sat behind that Japanese tank through this technical section here, as we see Maddox pick up a 15-second paddling for the contact that we saw in the earlier laps in the Waffle House number 8 McLaren there. So that's
going up the and another one's coming through a drive. Whoa! Here we go.
Whoa. I want to see a replay of that. So Ramez has been done for an unsafe rejoin on lap 2, and a drive-through penalty. So that's definitely going to hurt both of the races for those guys there. We're still very, very tight, Damo. Have a look down that timing tree. Look at the gaps. You know, we've got Johnson within 4 tenths. We've got Breno within 5 tenths as we cut to this replay here. So that's the 3 Pyramid Racing car.
Yeah, this is with the unfortunate tap. Rolls it off the circuit. That's okay because on the outside. Going forward and straight. Oh, that's how Bonnie got off. Oh, that's that's
Wow.
a paddle. That was awful.
That is
Not how you
battle.
do it, boys and girls. That's not how you do it.
Jeez, can I get some RIPs in chat for poor Mr. Viney? Because that was a murder, ladies and gentlemen. And so
Nelson
there's a move here. Oh, and there's contact. There's contact. Both of those guys are normally super clean. So sad to see contact there as we get a replay. So Breno throws it up the inside. Weird.
They were together.
Yeah, the Porsche was inside the Ferrari there. I thought this was a family show. I didn't think we were able to show footage like that, but it looked like the Porsche took a weird bounce off the curb there.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm more surprised that Rich Udi's still on track after all that. I was expecting to see that car in the grandstand.
Yeah, well, there's obviously room inside that car to fit a whole other car. So maybe he's got some sort of strange space frame thing going on that's keeping it glued to the road. This battle for the lead is fascinating. Johnson's been whittling away. That gap got out to sort of 5 or 6 tenths in the opening skirmish there, and he's slowly but surely just rule. Oh wow, English tonight, Sam. Slowly but surely winding Shady Samuel in here. It's going to be hard to make a pass on track, especially with the exit acceleration of that Mustang. So Johnson's going to have to get it done in the pits, I think, in our pit stop phases. And we did see in our last race quite a few positions gained and lost just on straight up pit stop strategy. Those overtakes were not made on track. So I'll be keeping a very keen eye on what these two are up to as we're getting a replay here.
Who are we with? We're in an Audi.
We're behind Curtis.
Oh, outbreak.
Oh, and that's Zach Jensen in the 95 Koala Atlas Motorsport Audi there. Just outbroke himself a little bit. He's done really, really well.
Yep.
To keep it out of the back of Curtis.
Absolutely, and that's another trick for all the young players out there. If you're going to looking like you're not going to make the corner and hit the car in front, turn to the outside of the circuit so the car in front can turn to the inside and you've got a bit more room to miss. So good driving in that regards.
Yeah, look, that's the gentlemanly way to exit the circuit. Go to the outside. Don't take the other car with you. And you won't get any angry DMs after the race. As we're currently sitting on board with Charitos, who's had a star-like rise from AM into the Pro-Am. Currently running 12th, so, and right in the middle of this Pro-Am battle. He's doing fantastically in that BMW. He's got Benny Curtis in front of him in the 83 Mustang, though. So it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to get this move done as they go through Degner 2. Let's stay with this battle and just see how both of these cars are faring under the brakes into the hairpin. Oh, and he's shown the nose a little bit. He hasn't spooked off diabols off the apex there, though. He looked at that and went, not today, boy. I don't think so. And held his line, and racing resumes.
Yes, it's going to be. I've been looking at the qualifying times with a little bit more detail, and the P1, P2s, Samuel and Johnson, they were about 0.4 of a second faster on the qualifying trim. So it might be just a race between these two drivers, judging by the gap with Taufik now. Unless Taufik is actually going to have a contra strategy of a long short, which is one of the strategies you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, look, definitely could be a possibility, but it does seem like those two at the front are in a class of their own. Currently with a 5-second gap back to Taufik in the 711 Ferrari there. As we're sitting on board with Benny Curtis here in the always fanatic number 83 Mustang.
Ellis had a pit stop. Sorry, just want to jump in there quickly. Ellis had a pit stop from P3.
Yeah, so Ellis in the pits. McLeod has served both of his stops. We've also had pit stops from Viney, Maddox, and Warren. So Maddox, no doubt, stopped, thought he'd serve that penalty, get it out of the way, and now he can continue on with his race. Let's see where Breno exits the pits here. I have a feeling it's going to be sort of almost at the back, if not all the way at the back. We haven't got too much of a field spread happening this short into the race, but we are entering the pit stop window for the majority of the field here. Currently 17 minutes and counting into the race, so keep your eyes peeled. I think in the next 5 minutes we're going to see the majority of the field come in and take their first mandatory stop.
Looks like we had a bit of an issue of car 9972 in the
wow.
There. And that's a
what
really
a
close
move.
by Ellis.
What a move from Charitos there. Benny Curtis left the door open, and Charitos has just said, "Thank your mother for the rabbits, mate. I am coming straight through." I don't know whether you'd call that a move or a mugging, Damo.
That's definitely a mugging. Absolutely.
That was an absolute mugging. Diabols will be fuming behind his rig, having let that move go. As we're going to get a replay now, and we're on board with the number 9 BMW, and he showed the nose here before. He's very late on the brakes, Charitos, but he's found the apex. He's made it work, and then he's acted like a mobile roadblock on exit there to stop that the Ford V8 power charging back through. Hats off, well done. What a move.
Yep. I hope he gets the wallet back, gives it back. And keep the cash.
Yeah. So there will not be any money left in that thing though. Not after that move.
Oh man, that was a really hot move. Yeah, I kept it. Got really close to the apex and not too overly ambitious. We watch Ellis coming out as the leading of the first stoppers.
Nice, yeah. So he's come out in P, currently sitting P20. Anderson and Gobby have also entered the pit. So as I said, that pit window is now opening. So we're going to see majority of the field come in and take their first mandatory stop here, as Johnson is all over the back of Shady again here. But it's going to be a chess match for these two. Patience is going to win tonight, especially here at Suzuka.
I just had a thought as well. With these two leading so close together, if they're pitting so slightly differently in the pit strategy, one thing that's come to mind is blue flag traffic might get them caught out in 3DSs, because you don't really want a blue flag to let you through too strangely, because they might go into a spin. So we'll see how they handle the traffic going through there.
You're 100% right. And look, for Johnson here, I think he needs to employ the strategy of do whatever Shady doesn't do. Because pitting at the exact same time as Shady to come out stuck behind him again is not going to win him this race. So, he needs to either be looking for an undercut and going in now. As we jump to a replay here, that looks like the GDR of Igor Zavaka there. I'm not sure the machine that's thrown it up the inside.
That'd be Gobby.
Oh,
You just got
must
the
be
pen.
Gobby.
Yep.
Oh, and those two are mates too, so that won't go down well at all.
Should have bought him lunch.
Well, I think he's going to owe him more than lunch, probably more than lunch now.
Some of the more pit stops kicking in. We're turning over 20 minutes into the race, so a few drivers having the 20-20 or the first 20 minutes. So we'll see if it's a 20-20-20 even split with the pit stops as the track and ambient temperature have dropped by 1 degree.
Yeah, so both currently sitting at 18 there. We now have 5 drivers currently in the pits. Salvaggio, Cricky, Buscovas, Gosling and Miller all serving their first stops.
I'm going to keep an eye on the... Sorry, I'm going to keep an eye on the Miller-Gosling one. It's only a 2-second difference. We'll see which one of those two had a much better pit stop. See if Miller can get a jump on Gosling there. I'll be looking forward to seeing
Why would you wish for Miller to get a jump on Gosling?
He's one of my teammates.
Oh, is he? Well, there you go. So Gosling,
I remembered.
Teammate. So, oh, mate, we've got a commentators battle. It is on.
We have a conflict of interest now.
Forget the leaders, Benny. We just want to watch the Miller-Gosling fight all night if we can.
Thank you.
And look,
I'll
got
see that
picture in
Porsche
picture.
move first. Thank you.
Picture in picture. There's the 2 cars. I got 50 cents. It says Gosling is down off his jacks and moving first. And there he goes. You owe me 50 cents.
He didn't take tires. That's what it is.
Thank you, Mr. Daviado Thurkalidi. I will have my 50 cents in the mail, please, sir.
Sure, I will email it to you next year.
All right, sounds great. As Johnson's in the pits. Here we go. So he's going for the undercut here on Shady. Let's see where he feeds out and if traffic's going to be an issue. I really hope he's found a gap to put himself in. 50 cents next year with interest. Interest rates are coming down, so I'm not so excited about that.
We never agreed to terms.
Oh, hey, we shook, and I've got witnesses, Damo.
This is not recorded, I can tell you that. Right? This is just a purely live broadcast.
All right. Is Johnson on pit exit here?
Yeah. We still need...
no, he's still not moving. Still not moving. So I wonder if he's going to go for a long middle stint and then go for a rapid final stint. So he's just back off the jacks on all 4 rubbers and leaving the pits now. He should get out in front of the number 30 machine of Ning Chan, which should put him in 11th, and he does.
He's not far behind. Ellis. It's halfway down to pit straight.
Mate, Ellis is the dark horse tonight. I wouldn't be surprised if by the final stint, once all the pit stops are shaken out, we find Ellis right at the pointy end. But Johnson has managed to put a 1-car gap between himself and Ellis there, and Ning Chan has not pitted. So Ellis is going to have his wits about him coming through Mr. Ning Chan in the number 17, the number 30 Aston there, because that will be 4 positions. So that's going to need to be a fair and reasonable move made on track as Shady comes into the pits.
That's an early limiter there. This could be a
very conservative on the limiter there, as we see Taufik follow him in. So we'll keep an eye on these two and Johnson, who is currently the lead car to have served one of his stops, and see whether we get a position change at the end of this first pit stop phase.
Bit of clear in front for Johnson as well, so nothing holding him back. So we'll wait in the buy and wait for these cars to drop and see if we go. Ellis has got through on the car behind, so we can get on Ning Chang. So we're looking at let's call it 6 seconds. So we'll see if that gap gets closed or not in the middle section.
So here we go. Both cars still stationary in the pits as Johnson's coming into the Casino Triangle. Shady's down off his jacks and moving. This is going to be nip and tuck. I don't think Johnson's going to be able to get him here. Shady's had a phenomenal pit stop as he's off the pit limiter, back to full noise, and that gap he has. That gap between those two is going to be bigger than it was before that first round of pit stops. So
it was point. Let's think. Give me a chance to think this through. So it's about a half-second gap. We estimate maybe 1 second extra on the limiter. What else could it be? Potentially not taking tyres. And we go. We're looking at Ellis behind Johnson. No, Ellis behind Taufik.
Aren't tyres mandatory? Don't you have to do 2
sorry.
stops?
Yes. Sorry, I forgot. Yes, 100% correct. Fuel and tyres.
Ooh. I don't think we saw that one.
Because it's in lap 11. That was only last lap. That was a quick one to get processed.
Jeez,
on lap
look, I won't comment on what the stewards may or may not be using to assist in their decision making tonight, but that was rapid. As we're now looking at Taufik in the 771 Ferrari, and he has got my man Breno Ellis all over the back of him here as we cut to a replay. This will be of the Charitus incident here, so quite wide through there, bit of a bump and grind, and that looks like Benny Curtis coming up the inside there, and
yep, that's in the Dignus.
You must always leave the space.
Yeah,
you must always leave the space. So he's received a 15-second paddling for that. He has jumped into the pit, so he'll be serving his first of the mandatory pit stops. And it's game on between Ellis and Taufik here. Currently running 8th and 9th with a few. So we've still got Rashidi, Chalmers, Rochford, Jensen, Charitos, and Ning Chan to still make their first of the mandatory pit stops. I think most, if not all, of the rest of the field have served there as we're getting close to half race distance, Damo.
It's gone pretty quick. One thing, Chalmers and Rochford, especially Chalmers, he does like to go long when he's on the first stint. So we'll see how far he wants to stretch it. And he's only 15 seconds behind Rich Judy as well. So that's something to watch for how it all pans out at the end.
I was going to say too, if I was Rashidi, now that I've got a whole heap of clean air, depending on the condition of my tyres, I'd be going long. I mean, let's face it, he's only done 13 laps. We make tyres last far longer than that in Enduros, so he should still have some nice rubber underneath him as we're on board with one of the Porsches. Whoa!
That's a catch.
That's a great catch for the 98 machine. That might have to go down. That might have to go down as catch of the night, Damo.
So far, bloody excellent one through 130R. You start losing it there. Too easy to get into the door. And Ricciuti pits. Getting close behind some of the traffic going through Casio Triangle earlier. Ricciuti's comes in. So that's a 28-minute stint.
I'm not sure whether that was a bit of weird netcode happening there or whether there was a bit of an issue with his stop there.
The pit entry's awful. The fast lane's good, the working lane's okay, but the pit boxes themselves, they're all tiered. So imagine like you got a hill and you got your terrace garden sort of thing. That's what the pit stops are like. So if you drive in straight, it's going to be really bumpy. You got to come in at a slight angle because your pit box is flat and then it goes a little down then flat, down then flat because it's on a hill.
There you go. As we've just seen Shady punch out the fastest lap of the race with a 58.730, which is not far off his pole qualifying time at all.
Yeah, checking the time. It was 58.630.
Wow, there you go. So he's a 10th He's 1/10 off his quali time. So gloves are off in this second stint. Shady has come to party and party hard. He will. The only two runners he's got left in front of him are Rochford and Chalmers, but he's got 21 seconds of clear air to Rochford. And both of those cars are yet to make their first pit stop.
Those two Porsche drivers going long. Coming up to exactly half distance now, so we'll see if they're doing... Torfig went a little deep in the sink area where your time drains away, the hairpin. And we have Ellis getting really, really close. Well, not close enough to have a challenge. Yep.
No, but he'll be feeling the mirrors of that Ferrari. Taufik will be looking backwards on entry and probably on exit more than he's looking at the track. So that'll distract him from being able to place the car where he needs to. And so Breno may be able to force an issue here. And I was going to say, Damo, I think I need to start keeping a tally of how many times you mentioned the sink. I think so far we're up to 4.
4?
Wow.
4? I thought it was only 2.
No, my count's 4. We can get someone in chat to keep a tally for us. That would be fantastic. And I count 6. Have I got any advancements on 6? 6 going once, 6 going twice.
Rochford's pit.
So Scotty's in the pits. So we still now have only Chalmers left to serve their first pit stop. So we're on board with Gobby here, tucked right up behind Brad Gosling in the 833 Koala Atlas Motorsport BMW here. And I know I've mentioned it a few times on stream. Brad is one of the most frustrating people to pass I've ever come across, because he just parks the car in the middle of the track.
That's excellent defending then. Knows what he's doing.
Fantastic defending. So he's not gonna make it easy for Gobby here.
A few things going on.
Who's that? That's Johnson that's gone round.
Car 8
Oh,
and
no.
50, I think. Car 8 and car 50? Yeah, Johnson.
Johnson's gone round. We'll get another look at this one.
Oh, you know what happened? Do you know where they are?
Oh, wow. Wow, so the number 8 Aston there has lost it into Degner 1. And that spat him into the side of Johnson, and then Johnson in frustration has nailed the loud pedal, and he's done a pirouette there for good measure. He will be fuming.
Oh, absolutely. You can just sense it from the car attitude.
Yeah, he's not going to be happy with that at all, as we're going to get some onboard vision here of the man that got murdered. So Aston did not like that bump, big tail spin, and then whack into the side. Look, hindsight's 2020. Johnson could have saved that incident by jumping out of the throttle, but he'd be going, hey, look, here's another position. I'm gonna go around this car. As Shady is pumping out the lap times. He's just done a 58.695. So he's officially 65 hundredths off his pole quality time. So, like I said, with 3 short stints, these guys are, for all intents and purposes, running 3 qualifying sessions. And just seeing Kamaris jump into the chat and say, why did he not slow down? Look, it's one of those things. You see a car make a mistake like that, and your at least my first instinct is, how can I capitalise on this? My second instinct is, how can I avoid also getting whacked? But yeah, the first thought that goes through my head is, how can I capitalise this and make a place? As mate, I'm just having a look at the Gosling Miller battle here, and there's a lot of daylight between Gosling and Miller.
Strategy.
What?
It's all strategy.
Nightlight. It's all strategy. You've been coaching the strategy on the side, have you, Damo?
No one listens to my strategy. Not in sprints. You shouldn't. I have bad strategy in sprints. Enduro's all right. Sprints no.
And look, so here we go. We've got the number 95 machine of Zach Jensen tucked up right behind Brad, and these two are teammates. So I wonder if we'll get a little bit of a gentlemanly let through here, or whether Brad's going to make him work through it, as Brad was very wide through the Degners there. Very wide through the Degners, and so was the Audi. And,
here we go.
That he's now surpassed his quality time. Shady is on the march. He's currently got a 12.2 second gap back to Taufik, and Johnson's going to struggle to mount a challenge from here after that little incident with the number 8 Aston.
If I may, I'd like to add a little bit to why did he not slow down to... Are we talking about the car in front? No, not slowing down to let the leader through? Or are we also talking why did the leader keep pushing forward when he saw the other car go through? I just want to add, the leader was, or the faster car was on the racing line, and the other car had lost a bit of momentum, was on the side. And I thought he was going to be safe and get through, but then the Aston Martin just pirouetted left and took out the faster car, unfortunately. And to let a car through in that area, a bit sketchy because it's very fast and very curvy. I think the slower car is probably going to let them through, leading into the hairpin here.
And just looking at the timing screen there, so there has been the gentlemanly let by of Jensen on Gosling there, so letting his teammate sort of carve his way up through the field.
I'll see if we can catch up to Curtis.
Well, look, exactly, and we're kind of in the phase of the race that I like to call no man's land. So the field spread is huge. We haven't got any real tight gaps on track at the moment. And everyone is just trying to manage their pace, put in their lap times, and get to that final stint where the gloves will come off and it'll be hammer and tong to the end.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm curious to see how Chalmers only pitted 2 laps ago. He's leading Pro-Am. Cricky was about 1.5 seconds behind, and he stopped earlier. That's all I have. I didn't see what lap number it was. So it'll be interesting how those two pan out. Then Rochford's fallen down a little bit on the grid there as we watch the cars go over the bridge. It's always interesting driving under the bridge. You always get a yellow flag when a car's passing over you. Freaks me out sometimes. As we're watching Taufik in P2, 12.5 seconds behind Samuel. That gap seems to be static for the last lap, would you say? Here we go. Lights under the bridge. More lights under the bridge. So the car's on top. Their lights go under the bridge. There you go.
Oh, very odd.
Transparent bridge.
Very odd. And I was just keeping an eye on the lap times here. So Johnson took 0.6 out of Ellis on that last lap. So he's currently 1.7 seconds ahead. So it'll be interesting to see how many laps it'll take him to catch up. As we see the Porsche get a bit wide on Apex there, but he's managed to get away with it. He's got a fantastic exit. He's scooted up the road. Johnson now currently sitting 1.6 seconds off the back, so that gap is slowly but surely coming down.
Is Ellis closing on Taufik? Have you noticed that?
So last lap for Ellis was a 59.5, and last lap for Taufik was a 59.2. So not based on that last lap. So the other thing that I love about ACC Drive is it gives me stint timers. So Samuel, Taufik, both 14 minutes through this stint. Ellis, 22 minutes, so I'm sure we'll see him come in at the moment. Johnson only did 16 minutes on that stint, so he's obviously got quite a long stint to go to the end here.
He's going for the overcut. Going for overcut.
For sure. For sure. The other one, Zach Warren in the 222 machine, 26 minutes on this stint, so he's been on that set of rubber for a little while. He'll be looking to flick those boots off and
There you go. I'll ask you a
get on
difficult
to another
question. Who's got the longest stint so far after our first pit stop?
set. Maddox, 26 minutes.
Yep. Okay. So you probably got 20 minutes to go. I reckon soon. I reckon a lot of people would be pitting. It's the best time to pit is between now and 15 minutes to go. Otherwise, you'll lose the efficiency of the tyres.
Yeah, correct.
That's
And let's see where Johnson feeds back out. So he's currently still in pit lane, but is moving. He's got a gaggle of cars that are going to come past him as we see Cricky go around the car there. That did look like a blue flag. Quite an awkward spot for a blue flag to jump out of the way through the S's there.
Well, is that car 8 under the bridge?
Or is it 20? Or is that 222? Hard to find out.
8?
Benny Hignett is madly mashing buttons to try and find out which car is stuck under the bridge there for you. But yeah, car 8 on the left-hand side of your screen is the bright yellow dot. You can't park there, sir.
Yeah, because that will actually probably spoil the people going down 130R. They will. I think they're going to get a yellow flag leading to 130R, being a yellow there. Because of the.
Benny, I don't think you can return to garage for him. I appreciate the sentiment, but I don't think you can send the number 8 machine back to the garage. As we've got Ellis in the pits. 24 minutes on that stint timer. Johnson did feed out into P16 there. And he's got a 2.8 second gap to Jensen. So he's going to hope that the rest of these drivers in front of him do pit quick smart here. Otherwise, he's definitely going to get it held up in lap traffic as Salvaggio and Warren both enter the pits as well. So we're going to see some rapid fire pit stops for the rest of the grid here.
And looks like car 8 got a 10-second pen for blue flags. I think that could be the incident we saw with the Audi car 50.
Yeah, that was with Johnson. Interesting. He must have been ignoring those blue flags for at least a lap to get a penalty for that. So I can see why Patrick decided not to lift and jump out of that when he saw the mistake. We see a wobble from Salvaggio, and then car number 8 is just pulled off the road and parked under the bridge.
Okay.
Maybe he's decided to stop for a
rolling again.
And a beer.
He's rolling again. He's just halfway down the back straight.
There he
About
goes.
before 130R.
That car is back and moving. Thanks, Damo.
I'm going to say emergency phone call. Need to take it. Can't talk while you're driving. Stop the car. Be safe.
That's fair. As we see Salvaggio exit the pits in P18. Zach Warren exit the pits in P20. So he's Pete Viney splits that pair who pitted at the same time, but Viney does have to come in for his second stop. Ellis out of the pits and into P10 has served both his stops. And Shady's in. The leader is in.
All right. Game on.
And look at this chain. Johnson is going to be begging these guys to take their pit stop this lap. They're under no obligation to jump out of the way and let him through because this is for position.
100%.
So he's not going to get the gentleman's drive by. And he's put the nose up inside back there. That's very, very brave from Johnson. As he got the traction, that Audi is all over the place.
It's sketchy as though. Here we go. Keep going. 130R. Where are we going to go?
The inside lane here is treacherous, especially with the car on the outside. Johnson's thought better of it. Tucked back up behind Zach. And Zach is wrestling that car. It's like, oh my word.
He had a thought of defending.
What a pass. What a
good
pass. Johnson's done amazing just to keep his car out of the back of Zach's there as Zach dives into the pits. And so does Curtis. Yeah, we've got three cars in the pits line of stern. So currently in the pits we have Cricky, Maddox, Anderson, Gobby, Curtis, Jensen and Gosling, Charitos and McLeod. I'm not sure whether Charitas and McLeod are going to continue racing. Though we'll have to see whether they exit the pits or whether they've parked it up for the night. As we've got a replay here, we're watching that chain of cars leave the pit lane in camera 2. Camera 1, we're watching Ellis currently sitting in 6th position.
It's gonna be interesting. So which one we were looking for an Ellis pass? It was Ellis and car 50, but car 50 is still rolling, don't they?
So Ellis has jumped. He's jumped Johnson in the pit stops. He's got 1.9 seconds back to Johnson here. As look, if you've got to jump out of the way, well done, mate. You've done it quite cleanly. As we're looking at the Kovacs racing machinery of Pete Viney here, and he's got Maddox all over the back of him. Maddox has served both of his stops here. Oh,
pressure move.
Yeah, pressure move. Maddox was all over the back of that Porsche. And Viney's only served the one stop so far, so yeah, Maddox was very keen for him to get out of the way. As we watch this move from Maddox from Viney, so he's dropped a long way back. He's let Viney had a moment all by himself, and then just slipped up the inside, still on the racetrack, and taken the position. And he will now continue on his pursuit to catch up to Cricky, who has served both of his stops.
As we got Rich Udy leaving the pits, so they should clear Ellis and stay in front. Cricky, you were saying Cricky was about 2.5 seconds behind Chalmers before the pit stop, so we'll see how that works out. Chalmers will be having a short middle stint and a short end stint, but he might be touching where the tyres start going a bit funny at the 15-minute zone, which I think is, when did he pit? He pit about 12 minutes.
He's 13 minutes into his stint thus far.
Yeah, so at this point in time, his tyres will be starting to degrade. And collision on lap 21 for Zach Warren, 10-second penalty. And we have Viney pitting.
Yeah, so Viney's in from P13. The number 8 machine is still in the pit, so I'd say his night is done. And just looking at it, so we've got a 17-second and change gap from Ellis through to Shady. As Taufik pits from the lead of this race, but keep an eye on my early call. Remember where you heard it first. Breno Ellis is, he's in with a chance. To make up 17 seconds on Shady in 12 minutes is a very tall order. But look, if anyone can do it, it's Breno. These two have been going tit for tat all season, so it'd be fantastic to see this battle play out, and if we can get some on-track action between those two, that would be fantastic. Chalmers has entered the pits as well as Ning Chan. So the only cars left to not serve their second pit stop is Scotty Rochford in the 332 Porsche and Rob Brickley in the 109 Porsche. Currently sitting P8, doing fantastic.
Okay, the 109's just exiting the chicane, and Rochford's crossed the start-finish line. So Rochford definitely doing an extra lap, and looks like 109's pitting.
There you go. Yep. So yeah, 109 into the pits. So Scotty Rochford is going to be the last man standing, and so we're going to have a 10-minute dash to the end for those that have just taken those pit stops.
Okay, so looking at the Ellis all over the back of Taufik, which is how it started at the beginning of the race. Taufik was in front of Ellis, where they qualified P4, P5, and Rich Udy behind in P6 from qualifying, and who's not far behind? Rich Udy. The loser out of this one, unfortunately, is Patrick Johnson.
Yeah.
Saw what happened earlier, but it's all to play for now. 3 cars within 1 second. It's going to be a hot. Well, we got 6 laps to go.
There you go. And so looking at the biggest winners and losers of the day so far, Rob Brickley currently up 6 spots. Ryan Anderson up 8 spots. Brad Gosling up 7 and has completed both his pit stops. Great drive from Brad.
Good.
Pete Viney up 7 and has completed both his stops.
Really? Viney's up 7. He was in the wall.
Yeah, so he's done
Wow.
well. He's
Good drive.
currently sitting in P19. The biggest drops, obviously, the poor old car number 50 for Johnson is down 3. Maddox is down 2. Timmy Gobe down 5 spots and has completed both his pit stops. So a tricky drive for Gobby tonight.
Yeah, he had some contact and a little bit of bumping around, so yeah, that's made for a difficult night. As some of the other drivers have had tricky nights as well. Oh, as Ellis has gone wide through the last corner, good job not touching the grass. That would have ruined your night there. Because that grass just sucks you out to the end of the circuit. As having a look on the inside is Johnson and thinks better. Oh no, it's gone. Wow, thought different and
and he held it.
Yeah, has he?
Oh, he's going to come back at him here through the S's. Can he hang it on the outside? No, he can't. He's decided to tuck back in under the wing of that vehicle there.
Well, that was unexpected. I saw him have a look, pull back in, and decided to go. Remarkable overtake. This is the look, tucks back in, and changes his mind and decides to go. Wow.
Yeah, just so much. How do you outbrake a Porsche in a Bentley?
Oh, that turns really tricky for the Porsche. Well, for me it is anyhow. Yeah, a lot of on-off throttle and a little bit of coasting. But geez, that's all driver. I don't think that's got anything to do with the car. That's a very, very good driver.
He's done fantastically. So he's marching. He's now only down 2 spots, Mr. Johnson, and he's got Taufik 7/10 ahead of him. You know, we saw in qualifying he's definitely got the pace, but can he make it count on track where it counts? Scotty Rochford still hanging in tough there. 19.5 minutes into that stint.
Here's something interesting. Chalmers Warren. Warren's got 10-second pen, but only half a second behind Chalmers. Was he going to sit behind or have a go, get ahead? Because if he sits behind, his 10-second pen's going to drop him 3 spots potentially. If he gets... Whoa, Ellis is going on. He's off a little very deep at 130R, which has allowed Rich Udy to close up. So this will be interesting between Rich Udy and Ellis going into turn 1. Whoa, what a drive out of that corner by Johnson. Went a bit wide. I think he's might have a run here.
So we've currently got a 4-way battle here for 3rd place. As Johnson has another look, he thinks, can I get this one under the brakes as well? And just can't get the move done this time round.
Going to interrupt you there. Once Rochford makes his pit stop, they're battling. These guys are battling for P2. So we've got 4 cars battling for 2 positions on the podium. Everything to play for.
Yeah, good call. Very good call. I was watching them make their way through the S's. And this corner here, you want to hang it out to the right and power as early as you can. And you are flat out through here up until about the 50-metre board when you throw the anchors out to tip the car in for the first Degner. Ferrari didn't like that curve there. Johnson's made up quite a bit of time through both the Degners. Is he going to be close enough to make a move into the hairpin here? Has a little bit of a look. Taufik defends extremely well, but that's compromised his apex speed there. And
I was going to say, watch the exit to Spoon. A couple of times I've seen Taufik get a little bit squirrely heading out of that corner. So this will be really interesting. Excellent car view here. We'll see if Taufik is copes through the Spoon. Little tapper there, going out wide, which is good to get the turn in. Little deep.
The apex, yeah.
But no, not as squirrely as the last couple of times I've seen him go through there. So pressure's on. He's feeling it and driving as smooth as possible.
Driving, look, it's been a stellar race. We've had 1 DNF so far. Haven't been any big collisions. This has been another fantastic race for Split Red. And I think Split Red continues to show us why they are the premier split in OOR. They just put on some fantastic racing.
I always thought they were the most entertaining. As Rochford makes his last pit stop with 5 and a bit minutes to go. The more entertaining of the splits with some of the on-track excursions that happens from time to time. From last season is what I'm referring to. Help me.
Well, look, I'm not driving this season, so a lot of the off-track excursions have finished a little bit.
No, I just remember Split Red. It's we always called it Split Red. I was driving in there. It's really weird. Like late Thursdays seem to have and here's Warren on the back of Chalmers as we were watching. He's very close. Is he going to have a little look? Well, we got 2 Porsches, so battling of the Porsche drivers with the better tyres at the moment. Yeah, so Split Red a few seasons ago was pretty wild. A lot of incidents. It was unfortunate. No one wants to have a bad race or give someone else a bad race. But as you're saying now, Sam, Split Red extremely entertaining with some good, clean, fast racing out front. So if we can see Shady Samuel leading the pack from Torfik, Johnson, Ellis, Ricciuti in the pro class. Slavaggio and Warren in silver, but Warren has a 10-second pen, but that should still keep him in P2 in silver, and we got down to P14 for Jensen for the 3rd place in silver. Watching Johnson going into following Torfik. Not too close to have a look. We'll see how they go through after the Casio Triangle. Back to Pro-Am. Pete Chalmers leading very well in 7th place over Mike Crick, who is only 2.2 seconds away and slowly catching, and Rochford, who's had the late pit stop in P11. A little bit of a wobble there from Torfik. Got a couple of messages coming in. I'll quickly check those. I think I've lost Sam. He's dropped off for a little bit.
No, we're good.
Oh, you're back. Oh, you're listening to me waffle away, which is good.
100%, always. But I love listening to your baritone tones at 20 past 10 in the evening, mate. I love listening to them. So Johnson and Taufik.
It's a good recap. Yeah, and I'll just finish off the pros.
Sorry, mate. Sorry.
The amps. Sorry. Blue flag letting, unfortunately, 4 cars through. That's going to hurt a lot. It's painful letting 4 cars through at once. P15, Gosling, your mate Gosling, doing very well, leading the AM class over Miller in currently in P20, who's also equivalently having a decent race.
Tell you what a drive from Brad here. P15, and ahead. There's a lot of black and silver badges behind him there.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah.
You know, just
some are unfortunate, but you're right. I think his pit stops have been top notch. It just looked like there was a move from Savaka on Brickley. I saw a little bit of a timing screen change there, so it might have been a move. As we are watching Gosling defending his P15.
Yeah, and he's still got Gobby behind him. I told you, Brad is one of the best defensive drivers on the grid. That was all through that last pit stop phase, and he's been able to keep Gobby behind him here. He makes that Beamer so wide, as we're 2.5 tenths. Johnson's got a bit of a look here. Can he make a move into the casino? He's thrown the nose. And Taufik has shut the door there. I wonder if Johnson's got enough. It looks like he's got to run.
Yeah.
He's got to run here. He's going to make a move under brakes into turn 1. Taufik's taken a very early defensive line. He's going to make him go the hard way around. Bentley power versus Ferrari power. The Ferrari does have the inside victory. And it ends in tears. I could see that one coming a mile away. No doubt the stewards will be madly looking at that one with 1.5 minutes of racing left to go, and we're going to get a replay of the Brickley Igor position change here. So Rob loses the rear through Spoon, and Igor drives around the outside. Not a stellar move under brakes. That one, unfortunately. So you'd think that'll solidify P2 for Taufik. Renault is there, but he's busy defending from Shooty. So we're going to get a replay of this move here again. So Johnson on the outside, Taufik on the inside.
Oh.
Yeah, tough. Look, I'm not gonna look. We're commentators, Damo. We don't get to make judgment on that. Tough one to call. Tough one to call. Raschuti is all over the back of Ellis here, though, and he's going to have one more racing lap to be able to make it.
Where's the leader? The leader's just passing through the Casio Triangle now. 23 seconds to go. We'll have one extra lap after this one. It's going to be hotting up. Even P8, 9, and 10 are also getting very close. Who are we with here? Is this Tawfiq? No. Oh, someone's gone. Mike.
Big moment.
It is Tawfiq. Whoa.
That's the number 8, Aston. Oh, and that's put Raschuti right on the back of Ellis there. Look at that.
That's how it works. The blue flags coming up and getting in. But look at Crick. He is only 1.2 behind Chalmers. Caught up, and Maddox half a second behind Crick. Wow, man. This is going to be wild. 7, 8, 9, 10, 2, 3, 4.
One lap left.
Hold your breath, folks.
Go. So the top, excluding, so 2 to 4, covered in 2 seconds.
Well, we still need some
7 to 10 covered in 3 seconds. We've got some very, very close racing here, and back down in 16th, 17th, Igor is all over the back of my mate Brad Gosling there. With Brickley for very close company as well. Igor finding himself in a cam sandwich here.
The leader's coming up as well on this group. That's the leader.
Oh, no.
That's Shady Samuel. Blue flags.
Oh,
on a twitch.
Bit of a wiggle from Brad. Is it going to give Igor the run? There's no way. No way. Oh, he's going to...
on the grass.
That's kind of ruined that move.
Tawfiq 10.
10-second penalty for Tawfiq. That's going to drop him down to... That's going to drop him a long way down the timing sheets. As Igor is all over the back of Brad. Rob is all over the back of Igor. And Shady is just trying to find his way through here as he will cross the line to take the checkered flag for Shady. But we've got battles happening all over the place. It's not often you see 3 cars cross the line ahead of Shady. And Breno on Tawfiq, so he will gain that position, courtesy of the 10-second penalty for Tawfiq. So Tawfiq will cross the line on the road in second, Ellis in third, Raschuti in fourth. But I want to see some of these close battles that are going down behind. So here we've got Chalmers with Warren
in P3. And here we go, you're right. Here we go.
That's Salvaggio in front. So Chalmers looking for a move. Salvaggio defending beautifully here. Look, the Porsche's got to run. He's forced him to the outside. Can he get the switchback and make it happen? Oh, Salvaggio's got very deep. Warren's shown the nose. This is going to be a race to the line for these 3 here. But it looks like the positions are going to stay as they are as all 3 cross the line, and Zach has to get out of the back of it to not squish anyone there.
Quick Maddox. Oh, Maddox got through. Must have overtaken him just before the Casio Triangle. Oh, Maddox was just behind Crick, 0.2 just before. Oh, nearly made it.
What a race. What a race.
P10.
So here we go. So this is the Maddox Crick move, and we've got action going on ahead of us there as well.
Oh, no.
Big snap for Cricky. Big snap out of the wall. Out of the wall. Well done. Well done, sir. Maddox has said thank you very much. What a race.
Scotty Rochford, they're still going, man. They're still going. There's Scotty Rochford, P3 and Pro-Am. We still got the other ones we were talking about just before in front.
So there's Jensen and Curtis.
It's Varka. That's it.
So Gobby is yet to cross the line in the 72 Mustang. So here comes Brad in the 833. There's been a spin from Brickers. Tragedy from Rob.
No.
Is it gonna cost him a spot to Zavaka?
Oh,
he just managed to get across the line ahead of Zavaka.
There? Those guys were side by side by tenths, and now they had seconds. Something must have been some fast racing.
What a race! What a race!
The last 3 laps. we got to review this again. So, who won? Shady Samuel.
Of course. So we'll wait for the glorious Benny Hignett to bring up the final standings for us, so we can run you through those. So overall, we had Samuel from Ellis, Rashuti, Johnson, Taufik to round out the top 5 for overall, and also our pro class. As we cut to silver, Salvaggio with another silver wing. Hats off to him, extending his lead in the championship there. Then Warren and Jensen. Then into the Pro-Am class. Chalmers from Cricky, from Rochford, Anderson, Curtis, Brickley, Zavaka, Viney, Ning Chan, and Charitos for our big Pro-Am class. And for the Am class, Brad Gosling has taken the dub from Mr. Miller. I think that's another 50 cents, Damo. Your tab's up to $1 now, mate.
Wait, what? No. Nah. Just
remember where you heard it here first. Damo now owes me $1.
I'll be talking to Bruce, and he owes me 50 cents.
Roger. Final thoughts from the race, mate? What do you got?
Oh, one of the best finishes to a race all through the grid that I've seen for a long time. That was absolutely epic. Driver of the day for me, I feel like throwing it to Rich Udy and also Rochford. I think they drove very good races. Rich Udy for the podium and starting from P6, Rochford from P15 and dragging it up a little bit higher to finish P3 in Pro-Am.
There you go. Look, that was so close. I haven't picked a driver of the day tonight. But look, that's us for tonight. Thank you very much for watching the OOR Simrigs Sprint Series. I'm Sam O'Brien. I've been accompanied by the glorious Damiano Turcolini and the great and powerful Benny Hignett on the cameras. That is us tonight. Don't forget to like, subscribe. And I was talking to Matty Powell earlier. He said that everyone that shares a stream link to their social media and posts evidence of it in the sprint chat will win a little prize. So let's go ahead and let's get those links shared. Let's get what we love to do out in the public. And we will see you all next week, same time, same place. Good night.
Thank you, Sam. See you guys later. Bye.